try to shoot the drummer, but I missed and shot him in the ear. Oh no, oh. I try to shoot the drummer, but I missed and shot him in the ear. Oh no, oh. Yeah, all around in my hometown, they're trying to track me down. Yeah, they say they couldn't stand on the slope safely. I just climbed right up. Nobody stopped me. Nobody chased me. Nobody cared that I carried a weapon. Aim for the head, but he turned at the last second. Oh, now, oh. I tried to shoot the donor, but I missed and shot him in the air. Oh no, oh. I tried to shoot the donor, but I missed.
Energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. If you wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I really had a like a llama. I whip that thing out like Michael Obama. I got that BD energy. Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, I'm a girl. 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 I'm a girl, I'm a whip them thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step back me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whip that ass like Michael Obama. Ain't got that clip, bitch. Hung like a llama. I'll whip that dick out like Michael Obama. I wanna be rich, but not self-rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches, its clicks getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not self-rich. I wanna be rich, but not self-rich. Wiki leaking, now your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not self-rich. I wanna be rich, but not self-rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches, its clicks getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not self-rich. I wanna be rich, but not self-rich. Wiki leaking, now your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not self-rich. I wanna be rich, but not self-rich. Wiki leaking out your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had a glitch. You wanna be rich, but not self-rich. I wanna be rich, but not self-rich.
Spread the word with propaganda packs, all for just $40 shipped at paranoidamerican.com.
Paranoid propaganda packs. We got facts on these speaker slaps. So grab yourself a stack and go attack with these paranoid propaganda packs.
These huge all-weather slaps will last in public for years to come. Remind citizens that birds are not real, self-immolation is an option, and might make you magnetic. Do your part and get a propaganda pack today from paranoidamerican.com.
Got paranoid propaganda packs. We got facts on these sticker slaps. So grab yourself a stack and go attack with these paranoid propaganda packs.
What are you waiting for? Go to paranoidamerican.com right now and get a paranoid propaganda pack.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, making it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, making it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up to yourself. Big up. Welcome to another Friday night episode of the Secret Society of Good Guys. As always, we are your good guys and we are magically delicious and excited that you are joining us. Hi, good guys.
Hey, I'm so jamming to the song. I love it.
I know, it's so good.
I'm like over here, like twerking in my chair. I'm like, oh shit.
It's okay
Thomas,
to
you
change your
scared me.
thinking.
What about the magic?
What about the magic? We are magic.
Disney magic.
Is that your skull?
We are magic. Not to scare people.
Not to scare people. I know the word magic sometimes gets everybody automatically thinks like, oh, that's so bad.
Are you
It's
a
all
black
black
magic or
magic.
white way?
Well, did you guys not sacrifice a live animal before the podcast? Was that just me?
It depends what counts as an animal.
I mean, I've killed cockroaches. I'm
I was
sorry,
playing with a
guys.
spider. I didn't kill it
I
though.
don't
The
fuck
lady
with
next to me did.
cockroaches. Mm-mm.
Cockroaches, Florida palmetto bugs.
I killed a frog. No, a toad. A couple toads, actually.
You have more
Wow.
tickets?
I participated in fireworks and putting them in the mouth and like lighting them.
Oh my gosh.
I was very young and I did one and then I felt bad because I saw the body parts splatter all over the place. It's like,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I said it. I'm admitting my truth.
I agree with Rick.
Say what you
Layla,
want, bro.
right in jail.
Straight to jail.
Internet, right?
Thomas has done that before, I bet.
How does Trump say it? I'm gonna lock her up.
You need to go to jail.
I'm gonna put you in jail.
Because you'd be in jail.
Because you'd be in jail.
Joe.
And
best
what?
jail.
I survived in jail. What, Riggs? What you gonna do about it?
Layla, you would survive in jail.
I would survive in jail. I'd make friends with everybody.
Yeah. You'd probably have to have a girlfriend.
I was gonna say I would just get a girlfriend. I'd be good.
I
just find the bad bitch in there.
I'd pip it out. I'd make people my bitches.
I think I'd have a rough time.
Yeah.
Because
you gotta
I'm
really suck as a person to die in jail.
For real.
Like you gotta just really suck overall, or have really bad luck. I mean, either or.
narc.
I wasn't technically in jail. I kind of was, but they didn't put me in a cell because they felt bad for some reason. They just like kept me on the bench, like locked up there, waited till somebody came to like bail me out.
This is a little off topic, but remember on Sunday how I started the show and I said, "Don't put Riggs in timeout ever." He said
Don't
it didn't
ever.
happen on. It said it didn't happen on this channel.
Oh, it didn't?
Happened on a
Oh,
different channel.
wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah, no,
it
no.
never happened here.
Well, good.
Yeah, so never mind. Nobody
Got
put
your
Riggs.
back, Riggs.
And he's like, "It's not Riggs."
Nobody puts the eggs in the corner.
No one puts Riggs in the corner. Not on the secret society of good guys. Good guys. Good guys. Anyways, yeah, so I figured what else has happened in the week before we get extra magic?
Honestly, probably a lot. It just comes to me as we go on.
I feel like this has been a slow news week.
A little bit.
Week even go by?
I know.
Really?
I know. It kind of feels like that. I think the RFK Jr. thing with Trump that happened over the weekend, then it's just been a bunch of Kabama stuff.
Yeah.
And
Like,
yeah. Oh, Brazil. I guess Brazil's gonna turn off X. They don't
Oh,
want
really?
Yeah, they don't want X in their country.
I
They're
wonder
saying
why.
that they're under kind of like a dictatorship right now, and that they want to close off the platform of X, which you can find us on X if you ever lose us on YouTube. FYI, you can follow us at any one of the people you see here. You can follow and they might repost it, or you can follow Secret S of Good G, and make sure you like and subscribe everywhere. And also, if you want to do some homework, you can go and like the Rumble channel, which you're going to have to do eventually anyway, because on the Wednesday night shows, you guys might have some homework.
Mhm.
You guys might things that you have to start doing.
Aw, Homer.
I know. It's not just going to be research. You guys might have to actually go and social media up things.
You're gonna have to work, bitch.
We should call it something else
That was good.
What?
instead of homework. I don't know.
Well, it can be called some. It will be called something
Okay,
different,
okay,
but they
yeah.
should just get used
They
to
don't
the
get to
idea.
ready.
know, yeah.
Get
They
ready.
don't get to
that's
know
all.
all the fancy terminology yet.
It's so
Yeah.
exciting.
So, anything exciting happen with you guys?
I was crippled for 2 days. It was
That
fun.
doesn't sound as exciting as I was expecting.
It was not. It was not exciting. It was
How
not
crippled? Explain.
Okay, so
This is kind of good for the topic of the show, I think.
yeah, actually.
Mhm.
So out of nowhere, I didn't carry anything. I didn't have sex with anyone. I didn't do anything rough. Nothing. This time,
I just have to say that you were like, I didn't carry anything. I didn't have sex with anyone. And to reiterate, I didn't do anything rough.
yeah, nothing rough. All right.
Like,
So
I didn't play sports. I didn't have sex. Nothing
No.
rough.
no, nothing rough. All right.
Just so you guys know what you're getting into.
Either it was because someone hated on me or something, but I woke up on Wednesday morning and I was stuck. My neck was stuck, my back was stuck, my shoulder was stuck. It was all stuck, and I was like literally stuck like this. And I couldn't move, I couldn't turn, I couldn't like bend forward, I couldn't bend back, I couldn't twist, I couldn't turn, nothing. Until my mom did like Islamic Reiki, like she was blowing on her hands and like saying a prayer and like blowing on my problem areas, and she's just rubbing it out. Within 2 days, I feel better. But I honestly feel either if it's like when you get a Charlie horse, like a pulled muscle, or like a knot in your back, and the word knot comes to mind, I feel like it's some sort of entity or energy that somehow gets trapped into your body, and your body doesn't want it there, and they'll give you the location of, hey, this thing is here. You need to get it out of you. It's here. And yeah, I feel like there's some kind of deliberate intent of sending energy towards people, because the ironic thing is I just got rid of it today. I'm good. My sister got it today. So she's stiff-necked now. And I'm like, this has to be what they call the evil eye. When someone gives you the evil eye, they'll see you and they'll acknowledge your energy, and they're just either jealous of it or they don't like you. So they'll throw like bad intentions in their mind to you, but like smile at you and act like as if they like you. But in the background, they're just like, look at that fucking bitch. She thinks she's so hot. Yeah, fuck this bitch. I hope
Okay.
she shits on herself. Type of energy.
We're going to talk about evil eyes and we're going to talk about Reiki. I want to talk about both those things, but it wouldn't be Secret Society of Good Guys unless we talked about audio for a second. And since we're here, I feel like your audio might be picking up the ambient room. So every time you go to speak, it goes.
Hold on.
So maybe just turn your gain down a tiny bit and it might be perfect.
Okay, let me see. You guys just tell me if it sounds better or not. Does it sound better? 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 Yes.
I don't know. You're
It's quieter.
I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. Does it sound better? Hold on. Let me check the settings on my audio real quick. Echo still there is good. That's good. I don't know what else to do, man.
No, there probably is an exact thing it's called, and somebody intelligent in our chat will be like, "Oh, it's but we'll take it over anything. It's amazing, and we're gonna work at it and get it all perfect beforehand."
It's better than usual. Audio tonight is better than it usually is.
Yeah, and I just had to say something. It would be crazy if I didn't make some mention to it, but it is.
Or no?
It's almost only when you speak. I know, just talk. Just say like,
hey.
Does anyone else hear it? Am I crazy?
No, I heard it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Abbie.
I had to turn it up and really listen for it just because I got fans blasting all the time.
Okay, so it just sounds like some ambient
I'm
background.
gonna try something. Hold on.
Oh, but it's not a huge deal.
Well, I got some other exciting things that have kind of been happening, podcast related. First, I had to take down for the first time ever. I had to take an episode down, but it was just because of a cease and desist from A&E. Because I had done an interview with someone that was on 60 Days In, and I guess that it was a little too early because they hadn't finished airing the episodes. The last one just aired this week, so I got to wait a month, and then I'll push that one back out again. But it was a cool one. And then another one that I'm like crazy excited about, I interviewed this chick named Annie Hardy, and she's been a musician for her entire life. She's been on a bunch of TV shows and movies and stuff. But she also starred in a horror movie called Dashcam, which is like one of my top 10 horror movies of all time now. And she plays the coolest freaking character. And then I found out that like she's kind of like the character in the movie, which is even cooler. So I got a chance to interview her that I'll be putting out in like a week or two.
Oh, that's awesome. That's funny that you got a cease and desist from A&E.
Well, I didn't. The guy that I did the interview with, Corey, he got it. So I didn't want to be a dick because like we're cool with each other. So, and I get to push it back out in like a month or so. But he I guess he signed before he read a whole lot of the agreements.
I will just let you know that my Maria will totally be coming to hang out with us on Wednesday nights. And you never know what Sundays or Friday nights that she just swings in. It's really just what she's up to. She's busy or she's sleepy girl this late. But yeah, for my Maria fans, FYI, she probably will do a letter or something going on coming soon. I was like, whoa. Anyway, yeah, Abbie, and you were on one-on-one. Your episode came out this week.
I did. Episode 222. How cool is that? No, it was pretty good. It was fun to talk to one who's a good host.
What is some of the stuff that you go over on that episode if people are looking for some extra audio?
He really wanted to get in, like, he was looking for somebody who did like Jungian dream interpretation, and my dream interpretation it's along those lines, but it's definitely evolved into its own thing. So we talked a little bit about dream interpretation, and then we got into lucid dreaming and Carlos Castaneda and all the little ins and outs of that stuff.
Dream interpretation's kind of magic in ways, don't you think?
Yeah, it's absolutely magic. It a lot of time it directly relates to healing your body So I think a lot of people don't realize that. I think a lot of dream interpreters don't realize that. Because if you get too stuck into the psychology of it all, you don't realize that it's also like your body is also communicating with you a lot of the time.
When we did those OA episodes, I don't even think I asked you, like, can you do the Carlos Castaneda like energy poses? Like, can you do any of them?
They're called the magical passes, actually, and you can watch the videos and learn how to do them. But
Right.
he
No,
also
I've
describes
seen
in the
them,
book,
but I just
yeah.
wonder, like, according to like OA standards, where it has to be like damn near perfect. Like, how confident are you in you doing, what are they called? The energetic passes?
The magical
The
passes.
magical passes. Oh, what a perfect name.
I know, right? I don't sit and practice them. If I did, I'm sure, but like, they're because they are very specific, and like just like yoga and stuff, it's very specific. But I mean, like, to the point where even walking is a magical pass. When you walk, you're like supposed to walk with your fingers curled like this, like, and all in a straight line. Like, you shouldn't have your knuckles like this. They should always try to keep them all straight.
It was like some kind of military training.
Yeah, but it has to do with keeping like the tension in your tendons and stuff like that, because that's where you store some of your magic. So like dead areas of your body. So there's a lot of like really specific things. They're just
like they're actually jumping timelines. Each one of their movements is pulling in something or drawing away something from a timeline. And so that's so powerful that you would think of like mudras with
yeah.
your hands. And so what they're doing essentially was with their entire body. And then if something has that kind of power, it does give a little credence to people that say yoga could be demonic, because you are doing poses and passes with your body that could be this next level powerful that you have no idea what you're doing.
You're tapping into dormant energy that like that's almost forgotten. Like because some of them is like the webbing between your fingers. Like, you store energy here. You have like energy centers that like nobody uses there, because it's like who messes with between your fingers. So you do things to like open up those channels so you can like use those energy flows for your magic. And it's like that's really kind of what it's doing. It's opening up all your body to it's chi.
Well,
It's
then if
essentially
you think
qigong.
you're just in breath alone,
Yeah.
think of a cooling breath to a fire breath. And then all the different breaths in between. And then you talk about something like, if you want great abs, most people, it's in breath work, like
Yeah.
that you miss out this part. So in the physical, it's this breath work. But even when you show somebody that breath work, that's so many different kinds of breaths. So if you're taking hand movements and body movements and breath work, and now you're adding intention, and so you don't know what words you're doing with intention. Like, it's different when a yoga, like, oh, this is happy baby, or this is kudalada. You don't even know what that is. You don't even know what that word just said. And like abracadabra or anana or banana, what are we saying? What are we even uttering?
Anana. I don't know. But it's almost like the art of dancing. So where we come from, we do the hora. So it's like a bunch of people holding hands in this aspect, and they're creating a circle. And they're doing these dance moves inside the circle with their hands and their feet, and double stepping and going with the beat and then the different tunes, and all those people like in the hora holding hands and doing these dance steps all in a rhythm and creating this energy. So even as a kid, I even thought of it. I was like, why am I getting this weird high? Why do I feel almost like a buzz and I don't even drink? Like, you get in this almost like a state of trance doing these dances, especially in a horror. I don't know why. It's like you're going in a circle clockwise and you're just going on, and you're dancing and you're in the zone. You go into like a trance state and get almost not hypnotized, but a freeing in the zone space of just like letting go. I don't know what kind of magic that is, but there's definitely a magic to it. It's almost like the Indians going around the fire and the Jews going around and the Muslims going around the cube. It's almost that same idea. And I always wondered why the hypnosis of it. Like, I almost feel like I always was put into a trance doing the horror.
Well, it's also inebriation, and I think for a lot of people, your first like brush up with the concept of inebriation is usually from dancing, hyperventilating, or spinning in place. Like whenever like a little kid would sit there and spin around and be like, "Oh wow, this is weird. Like I'm still awake, but I can't walk straight and I can't quite see straight." Like those are all variations of like your first glimpse of like a somewhat adjacent to normal consciousness, and I think that's kind of similar to like what a trance state would be.
Yeah, I
It's
think so.
interesting because they say people with like on the spectrum, like high end on the spectrum, that spinning is soothing to them. Like that spinny motion. They'll spin in a chair, spin in a
You're getting high.
swing,
It's
spin in
literally
a.
what's happening. You're
It's
kind of
like
getting high.
soothing.
Are we trying to mimic something that we aren't aware of? Vortex of some sort, we just like we just do it, just to do it, or is that just the natural order of things and everything's spinning? Everything's moving.
I don't. When you get closer to your mic, it doesn't pick you up anymore.
What the fuck is going on? Thing. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine back there.
Yeah, back here.
The closer you get, the quieter you get. It's the weirdest thing. It's
Yeah.
almost like it's picking you up so loud that it's like
it's picking up the room.
I don't know.
And I couldn't tell the difference. Layla, so everyone knows, Layla got here early and I was there and it was fine, but you can't really tell until there's the comparison of other microphones. It's like it doesn't when it was just Layla and I talking, it was fine. So
the grass is greener.
I'm sorry, y'all. You know, now I guess the torch for the sound has passed to me.
No. No, it's all better than not hearing you at all or not seeing you. It's all steps better. So yeah, just talking you don't have to get so close to the mic. However, your mic settings might be set up right now is for like talking away from it.
I'll figure it out.
I know. It's playtime. It's your brand new one, right?
Yeah.
And your brand new stand. Yeah,
and it has like a bunch of these knobs and buttons on the thing to control it.
And maybe just occasionally you should go like this to it. Just because your other mic got touched so much.
Can you hear it?
Remember, no.
It's so weird. Like we don't even hear it.
No, not
like,
at all.
Not even a little bit.
I wonder if you're just coming through your computer.
It's just strange.
I feel like we should be hearing that, right?
Yeah.
She's like literally hitting it with
let
her
me
hand.
hit mine.
Well, I was thinking
I can
she
hear
was
that.
coming through the computer. That's what it sounded like to me the whole time.
I swear.
It didn't sound like she was coming through her mic to me.
Hold on.
I think, Abbie, you have to get here a little early too from now on to hear it.
Does my mic sound okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me now?
I wanted to be here early. I worked a football game tonight. Shit.
Damn.
Door the gate.
Damn.
It was rough. Like, you don't know how much money they pull in to just charge $5 at the gate. That was insane to me.
Nickel and dime. Sometimes that's better. That's why you have like matchbooks and stickers.
It was a lot of money.
Is that the bread and circus?
I guess so. I mean, football is, right?
Football. It is interesting that Americans, not to get off the topic of magic, even though everything about all the games are so interesting, even down to the pig skin.
Well, I mean, the Orlando team is called Magic too, the basketball team.
Oh, yeah. We're Shaq, or OG Shaq team. Orlando Magic.
I feel like that's what we all got to wear next time we're in Orlando.
Orlando Magic outfits?
Yeah, we do.
We should go to an Orlando Magic game.
Woo, woo. Let's do it.
If it's worth it.
Jack used to come by the Disney studio all the time. I don't know what the hell he was doing there. I didn't get to work on those projects, but he was always there, and he's got this like huge stretch, like double wide pickup truck that he drives.
Huh.
This is a real quick reminder, and we will probably have links coming out next week, if not the week after, for Bohemian Grove in what town is it, Thomas?
Summerfield, Florida.
Summerfield, the Joke Joint in Summerfield, Florida. It'll be a 2-day event, and it'll be October 25th and 26th. And as soon as we know, we'll let you guys know if you want to get tickets and come hang out. We will all be there. And we would like to see you and hang out. It will be fun, and there'll be a lot more podcasters and social media.
Oh, the last one was really, it was originally just like a Sam Tripoli needed to come to Florida to sign a bunch of books and then like maybe do a stand up on the side of that, and it evolved into something insane. And for all the good reasons, and now we're gonna continue doing it as like an annual tradition, I guess.
I am so excited it's a tradition because it really did. It was way better of a turnout than I thought it was going to be. Even pulling up in Florida, it's in this middle of nowhere, in Florida. And it was such a good crew of people. It was at a really chill venue. And yeah, I'm excited to see what it'll bring this year. I think all the ins and outs, maybe some food trucks, and putting some other, I think there'll be other events, just not at the Joke Joint put together. So it should be a fun weekend overall. There should be a lot going on, a lot to do. I think like Revenge of the Sith is going to be there. And
they got it all set up really well now too, so that anyone that's not there in person should be able to actually live stream it. Because last time it was sort of a mess. Like we tried to figure it out within like an hour or two before the show started, but Top has been working with the venue for the last like 5 months, and he's been over there a whole bunch of times, and they just showed us the live stream setup now, and it's official. It looks like like almost like a Kill Tony setup, maybe smaller, but like the same level of streaming, and the lighting and everything's all set up now, so that it should be good even virtually.
And Top Lobster and Raven from the Nephilim Death Squad. Top works a lot with Revenge of the with Legion of Skanks. So a lot of stuff they do, and they got great merch. They put out really fun podcasts. They do the Tower Gang. The Tower Gang should also be there. And yeah, so go and support them. You can find them all over YouTube, but they are the ones putting on the Bohemian Grove at the Joke Joint. And so even if you can't make it, you will be able to live stream it, and it should be fun, and it should be not too expensive at all. So you could have 2 days of just, even when people aren't on stage, you probably will just be able to like crowd watch, and there'll be a whole bunch of your favorite peeps hanging out and probably smoking marijuana.
Legally, because it's Florida.
I know, it's one of the great parts of the Joke Joint, I would say, because I felt every other place I'm always respectful. I step aside, but when the owner of the place just handed me a joint inside, I was like, this is my kind of establishment.
Why, yes, it is.
Not just handed me a joint to hit, handed me my own joint, like passed out joints.
Everyone, bro. Everyone that came in that wanted one. It was like your entering little party gift.
Yeah, Donut's gonna be there, and I don't know, I'm probably missing people, but I love the Revenge of the Sith. If you don't check them out, they're like really funny dudes. They pick apart a lot of the podcasts that I listen to. They've been political for years, but because they kept it always picking apart the podcast too, they were one of the few that got to stay on YouTube. They would hide in their conspiracy theories and jokes. It was always clever the way they did it. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of good people there. It's going to be fun, and you'll also be able to get bomb ass merch from Thomas Paranoid American.
Oh yeah,
so
all the new stuff.
Yeah, so that's enough plugging about that, and you guys are going to get more of it, and probably songs about it and videos about it beforehand. So yeah, make sure that you Donut is not a Zionist, but he is Jewish. and it's okay.
Wait, what? And he's been on this show?
I know. We only have Zionists, gays, Jews, and shills on this show. That's it. That's all that make it onto this show. But anyway.
Are you calling me gay?
No, you're trans.
That's right.
You're the trans.
I can hear it in every thread now. Like somebody's got to say it. It's like whatever.
It's the new. I'll be honest. When they first said it, I thought they were talking about me.
They're talking about me.
I know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not me. I just want to put a like pink bow in my hair.
Not me.
Like,
That'll
oh
make
my
me look more
God,
trans because like
me.
trans women are always like trying to look like Donna Reed-ish. Like that's what women actually look like.
Yeah, it's like a caricature always.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
They're trying to be a trad wife.
I ain't wearing no fucking pink bow in my hair. That made me look more trans.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's so funny. You lean in and give yourself one of those like RuPaul names.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Hey, Glamazonians.
Demure.
I have to also with I never watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but anytime a commercial of it comes on, I always laugh out loud at RuPaul. Like whatever little shtick of like, this is the tuck of the century. Like whatever shit comes out of his mouth always makes me laugh. Like he is an entertainer. Big up RuPaul. Because I feel like RuPaul got in trouble for
I always
being
liked
like,
RuPaul.
we're not gonna have trans on the show.
Yeah.
Doesn't count. I think like that was kind of the sentiment. Was like doesn't count. Gotta be drag.
It's drag or get
But now
drag,
my girlfriend loves the show, so like I get all the updates of like what's going on, and now they just let women on the show and like women just dress up in drag. They're not even like female to male or anything. Just a lady that wants to do the same thing, which is like a complete, and it almost feels like somebody snuck it into like a contract at some point. It was like, look, you're gonna have to swing all the way on the other side on this thing in order to kind of balance out some of the previous statements.
They don't even have to dress like a man. They just get to go on and do dead drops and like sissy that walk.
Correct.
That is blowing my mind. And I bet they don't win because a drag queen is a specific character that to be a lady playing a drag queen, it seems really hard. Because they're not playing a woman. A drag queen is like an amped up version of usually a celebrity or a mix of celebrity. It's not a woman.
A dude playing a dude playing another dude. Kind of like what, Tropic Thunder?
Yeah. Anyways, back to magic. That's some kind of
Can
crazy
y'all hear
shit.
me or no?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, a microphone?
I don't think so. I think you're coming through your computer.
I think you have to go into your settings maybe in this app and then change it.
I did.
I got a crazy suggestion, but if you just unplug your mic and keep talking, I'm just curious. That'll solve it once and for all if it's coming through the computer or not.
Can you hear me?
Smart.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there you go.
You're like, I got a crazy idea, kids. I don't want to mansplain something, but let me.
I'm gonna try something.
I mean, I did work like you too, Chaney, but I worked in recording studios for a long time before I did anything else. And I wanted to be producer, but I ended up having to be engineer just because that's like 90% of the issues that come up is just, where's this thing plugged in? What patch bay is that going to? Where's that buzzing coming from? So like that kind of ends up being something that you have to just do day in, day out.
Buzzing. I wanted to do engineering when I was in there, but I had nothing to do with that part of radio.
No,
I
you
was
just got to tell the other people, like, make that stop buzzing.
Yeah, I was just a bitch. Like, I really was like a lackey and clever enough sometimes to get on the microphone. I started out as doing the news, which I just had to, and the worst part about it, I had to write my own news. And I just had no care of the world, no care of politics, just no care of really anything that was like outside of LA. Like I was just living in my LA world. So having to write the news and then read it like I cared in a news way and just do that was ridiculous. But Dickie was trying to make me his Robin. He felt comfortable and I made him laugh and I laughed at him sometimes. But I just thought he was corny. Like he would say things that was like dad humor to me. And so I would laugh like, I can't believe he just said that on the microphone. But he was comfortable around me, but I just wasn't good at that. So when they replaced me, and then I just kind of became like, I could talk about what I want, like celebrity shit. So I never got the engineering side. I was always in the booth and then got to go in on my time. Anyway.
I mean, it's good to learn the booth aspect of how things work, the mechanics and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's what the magic is too.
All the levers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Well, that's the Arthur's. I think I'm probably gonna get all that wrong, but Arthur C. Clarke version of magic. I think it's like the third law, but it's any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So yeah, pretty much like a lot of the time when people say Mercury retrograde, right, communication issues and stuff, that's a great example, I think, of like a real phenomena that might actually be happening that we just haven't figured out the right sort of tools to detect it or the right language to describe it. But it could be like a very real thing that's not just some woo-woo astrology crap.
And like Layla was like, oh, the Jews go in a circle and the Muslims go in a circle and even witches around a fire go in a circle and how many natives all across the land go in a circle and everyone. And so Mercury in a circle or Mercury backward is the retrograde of it. But then there's people in the like ancient Antiquitech and Tatarian idea that they think the moats around the castles were there to amplify energy somehow. So then if you think of like, did that Mercury have to flow in a retrograde to like a backward somehow instead of just it sitting? Did the Mercury have to flow to make some kind of energy? Is there more to it maybe?
Well, like you said, those wheels, you know, the wheels that you
the paddle boats. Yeah.
Okay, that's part of that. I feel like I had a thought behind it and it just escaped my mind. But the wheel is very important for some reason. It's in a lot of symbology.
Rotary.
Yeah, rotary. Also, how the that weird radar that came up in Mexico is very similar to the Mayan, I guess, calendar that they used to call, but whatever, the Mayan plaques, very close to that symbology. So there's something about that symbol of the wheel and going in a circle and everything in a spiral, and hence the symbol of the spiral, which we think is petal, but it's a very, very ancient symbol. And that's just like the vortex. I keep going back to the vortex for some reason. Are they creating vortexes? Like
opening something.
Yeah.
That's what that's like some Rosicrucian style version of the origin of the universe too. I think it was Rene Descartes, but one of them said that the entire like foundation of all reality and how like the entire universe came into existence is all about the vortex. Like that, whatever energy that is that creates that spiral, and that, I guess you call it like a compression and rarefaction. That's when you got like a bunch of compressed air and then like a negative space and then more. That's compression is the grouped up, and then the rarefaction are like the spaces between that spiral. And like whatever causes that thing to exist, like not just like a tornado, but that form to happen anywhere, they kind of theorize that that's like the origin of everything.
Interesting. And you bring up tornado, and I had this weird thought about clouds. I'm like, clouds, it's raining, and why is it that I always have this feeling of like being cozy and reading a book or writing or doing something, productive in that state? And I'm like, you know what? Why is it that whenever we depict someone thinking, there's always a cloud? And I'm like, are clouds the key for us to connect and like get the downloads and our thoughts that we need? Are we just focusing on the wrong thing and we should be actually focusing on the clouds? since it's like the symbology of it, like boop, 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 this person's thinking about this, or in comics, like it's always in a cloud. And it just makes me question, is that what we're supposed to be doing if we want to gain information about everything? It's just literally connect to the cloud, like connect with the clouds.
And that whole concept too, it's not even from comic. Like I know exactly what you're talking about too, like the little bubbles that have been in comics, but there's ancient Mesoamerican art that basically has the same thing. It has like little dudes that are like posed, and then it'll have like the things that they're saying, and then there's like a little line that's like connecting their mouth to the things that they're saying. And this is like probably the oldest version of this, what you're talking about, like these thought bubbles or like these speech bubbles. They're actually from Mesoamerican art.
They always resemble clouds to me. Yeah, they look like bubbles, but it's like boop, 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 boop. I don't know.
Well, it's for talking, it's a bubble, and then for thinking, it's a cloud. Exactly.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know where that came from.
And they call it a brainstorm, like you're brainstorming.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm telling you, there's something to it, y'all.
Because you have like electrical pulses going across, like there's an actual electrical storm happening in the cloud of your brain. Maybe they think a brain looks like a cloud.
That's totally true. Yeah, the brain looks like a cloud, but also I guess I'm just realizing now that whenever I think brainstorming, I almost always associate it with some kind of astral projection, where if like the four of us get in a room and we're going to brainstorm, I don't think about it that we each have like lightnings going on in our individual heads. It almost feels like we're sending our brains up to like the ionosphere, and like up there, they're causing a whole bunch of electricity to happen.
Because when you think about it, sometimes when you're thinking, you're like, and you just look up. And why the fuck am I looking up? It's like it's a natural instinct.
Because this is the thing, is that we all think that, like, I'm gonna swear by this. We all think that our brain is where we store our memories, right? We think it's here, but this is like just your RAM. It's just like a little bit of the memory. Like the actual, like, hard drive is the cloud. It literally is. It's the collective unconscious. Yeah, it is.
To do with it, but the cloud is storing.
Your brain literally is just a radio antenna, and it picks up on it. So that's like, so it pulls back into dreaming. The dream realm is like your cloud storage. That is collective cloud storage, and that's why sometimes you're in other people's memories and other people's dreams, and you're somebody else, because that's literally their sector of the cloud store. They're of the cloud. Like you go back to the same part of the cloud usually. That's why dream mapping like helps you like to discover all this. Like when you start mapping your dreams, you realize more and more about the sector where you tend to frequent and where you store all your memories. And it's the same for everyone. Everyone has their own little spaces that they kind of go back to. So it's literally cloud storage. Your brain is just, it's like the radio receiver. Like you have a radio in your house. Like if you're picking up a radio like station from frequency modulation, it's not the radio that's making the sound. It's coming from somewhere else. The radio just picks up the signal and translates the signal. That's what your brain is doing.
Yeah, and that's why they say don't think about your stresses. Think about questions that can help you do better in life, or whatever, manifest things in life, because the stress is the static to that line. You know, it's like that. It's just an irritant. It does nothing for you but create whatever you're stressing about. So instead of thinking about your stress, ask questions, thoughts, think about it, but ask questions about the things that you want to help create in your life. So take away the stress, think of the ideas, ask the ether, what am I? Why am I this? What is this? Just a simple fucking really literally plug in, or just ask for the fucking plug. Hey, I just want to know, ask questions and you'll get the answer always. One way or another, whether it's through the algorithms or if it's fucking, I don't know, a random text somebody sends you or a song that plays, it comes to you, like Vor, for instance, randomly.
That's randomly. Honestly, there's a tie to magic on there too, because some of the very original NLP books and trainings were all talking about like it being a magic language and like how you could transform princes and frogs and like all this. Like it was very much took this magic idea, and one of the biggest aspects of NLP reframing or like pattern breaking is that you take everything that you think that is like a fact or things that you've already accepted about yourself and just the world, and you pose every single one of them as a question. So if you're like, you know, I hate that movie, or I hate that restaurant, or I hate that person, you're like,
Why
do I hate? Or you don't even think that. You're just like, do I hate that person? Is it hate? Or is it something about them? Is it something they did? Like, and you can explore it in all these ways until you can kind of like either pinpoint it or realize that you actually have no idea what the hell you think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's second that you figure that part out, you're like, wait, I don't actually know what I think about this person or this thing or this idea. That's
so
the pattern
magic.
breaking.
It's so magic. People don't even realize. Like, it takes a while for you to realize the magic in it, but it's the most magical thing you can do as a human being for yourself and for the world too.
The easiest way that I've come across doing it, and for anyone that's like, because it sounds like such an abstract thing, but the best one is that if you ever find yourself or anyone else saying like every time, whenever they speak in absolutes, like every time this happens or this never works, all you ever have to say is like, never has it ever worked once. And then if once you can accept like, oh yeah, I guess it has worked one time, now it's like you've opened the door, you've broken a pattern to where you're not just thinking like, oh, that'll never work, because you're like, oh wait, it worked that one time, so maybe it will work again. Bam, you just broke a pattern.
That's really important, actually, like to discover and pay attention to when you say I never or I always. Those are two things that like really are limiting beliefs, because you're fucking putting an absolute on something there's very few absolutes, right?
Yeah, you're seeing like a brick wall where there's actually like a turn there. There's like a road you can go down, but you're putting a brick wall in there instead.
So you need to start paying attention to when you say it, and when you say those two things, that's key for you. Just like something you need to heal, probably. Or if you don't want to look at it as healing, it's something you should explore, like Thomas was saying. So if that's like, if you need to hear it more masculine.
Is there a bit of incantation in that? Of like repeating things and it being so, and getting other people to repeat your sayings or saying it enough, or having like this propaganda type hope, hope, where you like put this word in people's head. Is that
joy
kind of, or like be unburdened by what has been?
Strength through joy.
I can be unburdened by what has been. Sorry, I can't. It's like I keep, anytime I even say a little piece of it, I have to say the whole thing and try it once as her.
Can you be unburdened?
Can you be unburdened by what has been? Like it's like I need to make my neck bigger when I say it, and my mouth bigger. Like I need to talk up. Like, can you be unburdened by what has been? See, look at
it's a little nasal too. But
yeah, there is something about it. And the laugh.
It's a cackle, right?
Yeah.
A cackle, not a laugh.
Like Hillary does a full open mouth, like ha 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 ha. Like, but Kamala has like a cat.
Like a it's like a, I don't know. It's like a evil tone to it.
It always strikes me as being uncomfortable with silence, or making a poignant statement, or letting someone else make a statement and then just letting it sit there in the air. Like she always has to fill that air with like a cackle, and I think that it's just a way to disperse the energy that's like currently in the room at that point.
To be fair, if I dressed as Kamala, would that be blackface?
Yeah, I mean, she's acting the role, right?
I mean, isn't she acting blackface right now?
To be fair, she was asked the question if she was black or not, and she just said, "Next question."
Isn't she though? Isn't her dad black?
Okay. Here's the thing: if you go on the Wayback Machine,
She listened to
just
Tupac in college. What else do you
everything is
want?
Indian. I'm Indian. Now, Wikipedia altered their information, and it's now black. Yeah. Just use the Wayback Machine, guys. It's there for you. 2012. Just go to 2012 and go Wikipedia Kamala Harris, and you will see everything.
The Wayback Machine, is that on IngersollLockwood.com?
No, you go waybackmachine.com, and then you type in
waybackmachine.com.
Yeah, and you just type in the URL of what website you want to like go way back into, and any website from MySpace to you name it, Ingersoll Lockwood to whatever, and it will have it archived in there, everything that was printed.
Bookmark that shit.
Yep,
that's what I'm doing right
that's
now.
cool.
Oh, except it's not working.
We're gonna put a link to that on the Secret Society of Good Guys.com and Ingersoll Lockwood, like all these websites,
and Deagle.com.
We're gonna make the Secret Society of Good Guys website so you can find all of these things. Even like Thomas's, how he has like he's building a whole entire like dictionary of words we're not allowed to say on the internet with like the word we might call them. What's that called, Thomas?
OccultDecode.com. Yeah, the banned word list. Yeah, we could totally we could put a version of that on Secret Society Good Guys and Lodge 1202 and everything.
Yeah, I can't wait. You guys are going to love Lodge 1202. And we might have a Lodge 1202 button that you can only get at Bohemian Grove.
I think we're going to have to hide a whole bunch of them. Like, just they'll be hidden all over the place in like weird corners of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. But there might be something that you just get in person at Bohemian Grove.
There's going to be a QR code under a dead body in an alleyway. And if you can find it.
Your smoke did a beautiful little dance, by the way, Chaney. It went. Woof, 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 woof.
Did it make you guys were just talking about it? This Vortex.
I don't know what it did, but someone needs to timestamp now and just
at 47:47. You said something cool, and I was going to timestamp it, but instead I gave people wrenches because that's how short it was.
I do that shit too.
And then I'm like, why was I here? I didn't come to do this. I came to time. I forget. Anyway.
Period. Story of my life right there.
Yeah. Did you guys, this is a tiny bit off topic as well, but have you seen the new Quiet Place Day One? Anyone?
No. I tried. I wasn't getting into it, but I saw some of it. It wasn't like I hated it. I just needed to I needed a point where I could actually sit down and pay attention to it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the other Quiet Places, so I was like, maybe start here. It says Day One. Like maybe you don't have to watch the other ones first. You can just watch this one and then get into the other ones. The thing that made me think of right away was Bird Box and how in A Quiet Place they're taking away our sense of like us uttering a sound, which is essentially the mask.
Oh yeah.
And us speaking and all of them. And I think it's really funny that, and maybe we do this instinctually, but I never do. If I want to remain quiet or if I'm going to scream or if something startles me and I'm not allowed to speak, I don't automatically cover my own mouth. Like I thought that was very strange, like how many grown-ups need to cover their own mouth for self-control of, uttering a sound. But then it's like the Bird Box, they take away our sense of sight. And then we really lose our sense of smell and taste. And I just think it's funny that these movies are like, how can we play with their senses?
When people do that, when they talk and cover the mouth, I feel like they have something in their teeth or they're worried about it. Like that. Well, that's where my thought goes there.
My thought goes to, especially with you bringing up the masks, I think it's more than free speech. I think it's more criminal now. And they pushed it and started it off with disease and shut up. But now I think it's more criminal. They don't want people to be identified. And they have technology, but it just helps. And it's harder for them to recognize who people are because you can't remember somebody. If they attack you, you're not going to remember who the fuck they are because this, compared to this, if you're hiding that, you're not going to know who a person is.
Do you think the part of me that's like, we could get away with some shit right now didn't think about that?
Yeah. So it's like that's a
totally
big part
did.
of it now.
Yeah.
Especially with everything going on and with elections and the polling and all of that that's
Facial
happening.
recognition shit.
Well,
and
didn't they
stuff,
say
yeah.
that it was really easy to steal a child too in a masked world? Like
Yeah.
you could like in less than
'Cause
like
who's
5
gonna identify
seconds,
that
you could
person?
put a new sweater on a child and put a mask over their face and nobody knows who they
That's
are.
it. Mhm.
Yeah.
Your kid disappears into a sea of people.
And you don't know who the adult is.
Yeah.
Sick. Fucking sickos.
But also,
Oh,
it was an
pussies.
elitist thing because the workers would always have to wear masks,
Mhm.
and the people that could afford to eat at the restaurant never would. And so that was how it was going to eventually become, is all the workers would be masked up so they wouldn't be seen. Because the same way we don't notice masked people anymore, that's how it was becoming for everyone. They were becoming invisible in society, but we weren't supposed to notice it because the magic was that we were all supposed to be masked. So the fact that we weren't masked, they were all starting to disappear to us too. So imagine now if we all remain masked for the last 5 years, if we all, because that was the plan under Hillary Clinton's second presidency. If we all remain masked, all those people would have disappeared. And
Yep.
we were never, ever supposed to think of ourselves as high enough class to be unmasked. How dare us?
Mhm.
It was like we were smiting little serfs. Like, how dare us even think we could just walk around breathing the same air as Bill Gates?
That is a magic that we don't really talk about, and it's the magic of agreeing. Like someone comes on TV and they're like, "Oh, I'm a doctor," and we're like, "Yes, sir. Yes, you're a doctor," and we give them this power by agreeing with what they say they are. That's another magic that people don't realize that
Like
we
Neil
even
Big
do.
Ass Tyson?
Yeah. Oh, I'm somebody. Oh, he's so. Oh my God. Yes, sir. Yeah. And it's giving this person that I don't know shit about. Yeah, he's a genius. He knows. And that guy with the fucking, he was in a chair, paralyzed, and he was giving us what? What was his
Stephen
name?
Hawking, that
Yeah.
fucking wax
Get
dummy.
the fuck out of here. Like, no.
He's the smartest man on earth.
Yeah, my ass.
Well, was.
My ass.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
going
buy
back
it.
into the whole senses thing, like the smell and taste thing, the bioweapon that everybody, got 4 years ago or just recently got. Like I lost my sense of smell, like, but I got it back, after probably a couple months, but it was never fully back. There was like certain things I couldn't smell, like I couldn't smell cinnamon. I didn't ever know if I stunk or anything like that, which is kind of a blessing in its own way, but at the same time, it's like it could be really embarrassing. I could have smelled bad like the whole time, but I just got sick again. But it was weird because it's like I was never fully. I could breathe the whole time out of my nose, even though my nose was running, and I got my smell back fully. So I'm like, what if this is like the secret society of good guys, and they're like reversing the bio weapon? What if it's a good thing? Like, and it's weird because I actually talked to 2 coworkers today who also got sick, and they got their smell back.
I don't know. I like the sense of smell.
Yeah.
I love it. I want to know if I'm next to a stinky ass motherfucker or not.
It will be way easier to get everyone to eat crickets and cockroaches, though, if you had no sense of smell or taste.
Yeah.
Right? If you just said it's a protein source and you were just like, all right.
It's not a big deal. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, or Bill Gates.
Well, you wouldn't know is the point, right? You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know the
I would
difference
know.
between.
My all-knowing, wanting ass wants to know.
all their science and all their technology, and they can't fucking make fake meat that's like good.
No,
Like they're Beyond Burgers and
they use human cells for that.
Well, it's, you know what though? It's because, and I don't understand this part at all, but they spent so much time perfecting the way that they could take like a beet extract and make it so that it looked that as you were cooking it, like the beet would almost like heat release. So then it would look like blood was coming out of it. So it would resemble if you had ground beef and you were cooking it and it browns, and then like some of the blood in the inside starts to run like and go through all these color changes. they spent a lot of time and money and resources on like emulating that process for what ends, just so that people could feel like they were still eating meat even if they weren't, which is crazy to me. Like, why not just make it really, really good? Is it just not possible?
I think we were going to be forced to do it. I think I don't know the executive order number, but Donald Trump actually signed an executive order to force the meat plants to stay open because they were Fauci face. He made like what do they call them? They had to be workers. They were like
essential workers.
Workers, and they were like McDonald's workers, but not your cashiers or not your meat plant workers. It was like really strange, the essential workers all of a sudden that were considered essential in society. Like, oh my, we don't have to, I won't go into the medical side of it. I'll just keep it. I was about to lose
for the
it.
nurses.
Dropping bombs in
That's
here.
exactly. That's a dancing nurse TikTok. And then, here we go.
New York City, you don't remember? At 7 o'clock, everyone was out their windows with their pots and their spoons and ding, 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 ding. And
how magic is that, though? It's almost like a Cinderella kind of story. It's like, you better be inside by midnight.
Be careful, the buggy's out there. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you, nurses. You're the best. While they were dancing and killing you.
It reminded me a little bit of like Walking Dead style too, where like every night everyone's got to hunker down because that's when like it's like the zombies would come out and try and get you. Or there was another show, I think it was called Us, that had a similar vibe to it.
Zombies, the dead. All the ways. It's like zombies, vampires, ghouls, demons. It's all dead. It's all dead. And then the dead want to convince us we die. But we're the only energy magical enough to have free will running flesh. Like they can't unless you let them in. It's almost like that vampire rule of like, you got to invite it in. That's everything, I think. Whether it's a little alcohol, a little Ouija board, a little porn, a little, what I think there's so many ways you invite the demon. A little death-proof water.
Or self-spells that you realize that you cast on yourself by the things you say.
Like saying a birthday. Do you think blowing candles out on a birthday cake shaped like the moon goddess around for Artemis, and then you're blowing out, making a wish, and then giving up a year of your life is weird?
Super weird.
I know. I always
trading teeth for wishes. That seems super magic,
wild,
right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Even as a kid, I guess I didn't know how to phrase it, but it's like some medieval magic. Like it feels like really ancient, probably way beyond medieval. I bet you like our ancestors were casting weird spells with teeth and stuff.
Well, love spells. People would give each other their locks of hair and tie it in a knot and keep it somewhere, or put it in a ring or in a necklace, or tie it into their own hair.
No one appreciates those kind of gifts anymore these days. You try to give someone just like a knot of your
hair.
What is this?
I had somebody send me a lock of hair.
It's creepy now, right? You're like, what the hell?
I mean, if they present it in a way that like we were having a theme night, date night, and it was like in that kind of era, we went to the Bridgerton, like, modern thing that they have there. And like, oh, I want a lock of your hair. It's cute. But randomly, here's a lock of hair. Nah.
What movie was that? I feel like there's a comedy, like, probably the last 10 years.
I feel like on the shelf behind me, I have a lock of hair.
Probably.
I'm not kidding.
What is that? It's a lock
My
of
mom
hair.
saved
Like
our
if we were
first
doing a
hair.
scavenger hunt and we couldn't leave our chairs, lock of hair somewhere in the shelf.
I'm
My mom
positive I
saved-
would not be able to find a lock of hair around here.
My mom saved our first shaved heads hair. Like that first cut, that fresh hair. She saved each of ours.
Baby teeth too. Like having an adult tooth is a lot rarer of a thing, but having baby teeth, like here, tooth fairy, that is wild.
Do you think that dates back to some sort of like ancestors at one point knew that you had to preserve part of the the code, you know what I mean? Like your actual DNA, and they wanted to preserve it. And then over time it turned into a superstition, but it actually started with like a seed bank idea.
Or do you think in a way of like a voodoo doll? If you had somebody's baby teeth to put on that voodoo doll, do you think it was something like maybe your parents would save your teeth so nobody else could do something nefarious with them?
That
Kind of
too.
like burning your nail clippings and your hair clippings and stuff so nobody can do that.
Yeah.
I do that. You guys don't do that?
The
Nah.
type of magic that people use and how they use it is fucking wild. To the point where they'll take menstrual blood, take a napkin or a piece of clothing of somebody, wrap it in a piece of paper, take an egg, shove nails in it with hair and bind it with the hair, and take a lock, and then put a lock in it with a key and take dirt from the fucking grave and like, or buried in the cemetery, like dark, deep fucking shit. And they'll even take murky water and soak the menstrual cloth, piece of cloth, and wrap everything on top of that to the point where like you'll probably die with a curse on you. It's
They
that.
call it the aristocrats.
That's half of Layla's stories.
It's crazy. Crazy.
It is pretty isn't it like spells, like cursing somebody? Isn't there a saying that a lot of like werewolves or people that are forced into like a frog prince, like people being forced into a vessel, or cast into a vessel or cursed into a vessel? Do you
It
think
has
those are
to
like
be.
real?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, how could it not be? Like with all the, what's Juan talk about? The homunculi and all of that. That has to be a thing. Like an soul transference. It's known, isn't it?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Could your human thoughts fit into a frog brain though? Or
It's
like if we go with the
receiver.
radio version, right?
Yeah.
Like going from a human to a frog would be like going from like a modern XM radio, and then you go into the frog, and the frog's like an AM radio that can get one station that it's tuned to like statically. It almost seems like you wouldn't be able to retain any part of your
You wouldn't be
humanness.
human, no, because like even sorcerers and stuff, when they shapeshift and they do like they turn into birds, like two people that aren't even attracted to each other and would never see each other in a sexual manner as humans, when they're birds, they're doing their bird instincts and they get it on, and then they come back to being human, and it's like, dude, like there's nothing awkward there because that would never happen in the human flesh, like with this brain. When you're in an animal brain, your animal instinct, that's what you can do. That's where you are. It's a lower life form.
Is it like an NDE kind of thing when someone's in a coma and they're in a whole other experience? Is it that same idea? It's like your soul goes somewhere else. It doesn't necessarily have to be a body, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
Like the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I think my Maria was talking about that. Like the silly idea of you could even end up being a rock, you know?
Have you seen that?
That one was like everyone's a rock in that
Yeah.
reality, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. It's like your
Hot
soul
dog
could jump
fingers.
into anything.
That is the kind of the funny part to me about the multiverse theory is like there's a theory that like it's an infinite amount of universes. So one, you have hot dog fingers, and one, maybe you just have one hot dog pinky, and the other one, Layla just has a hot dog pinky, and the other one, Layla and me have hot dog fingers, and the other one, I have hot dog eyes, and it's just like to the point of it's absurd.
Yeah.
Like it's absurd at some point.
I used to think of it that way too, and I guess I've changed my thinking on this, where like the concept of infinite realities and infinite universes I took so literally. Infinite in that, like, I guess the most annoying version of it will be there's a version of me as I was driving to work that like turned my head left at exactly 3 minutes in the ride. And there was a version of me that turned my head left at exactly 3 minutes and 1 second into the ride. And
With
every
hot
little
dog fingers.
but I don't know if that's necessarily what the infinite reality is. And someone, I can't remember who described it to me, but it's like a fractal.
I see it that way. Everywhere where there's a juncture, everywhere where you chose one thing instead of another, or you know, one thing instead of multiple things, that would be, a fractal. That would be.
Okay.
I see exactly what you're saying.
Whose decision, though?
Like the fractal version would kind of imply that there's not like a rock dimension, or like if there were, it would like it wouldn't literally be like inside of a rock.
Yeah.
Okay. So, have you guys seen these videos of Teslas driving in cemeteries? And like no one's around, but all these spirits are just there floating around. Like for instance, I saw it today. Dude, it's so crazy. Okay, so this guy's driving to the cemetery, and then he sees 3 people and a motorcycle on his fucking screen of showing like, oh, well, people might be there, but there's nothing there. So he walks out to the grave where it's showing that people are there. 3 people on a fucking motorcycle, and they died all 3 of them died in a motorcycle crash.
Like the hitchhiking ghosts at Disneyland.
Dude, and he has tons of videos of this. And I'm like, is this like a multi-layered reality where everything's happening here on a multi-layered spectrum that we cannot fucking see at all? And it's just like, it blows my mind to see things like that, because it makes me ask these questions, because it's crazy to see these beings on this realm but not see them, but they're here.
It sounds
so we have thousands of realities happening here in front of our face, and we don't even know it.
That's kind of where sometimes my head will let it go of like, not everyone can have hot dog fingers, and not 3 minutes here and 3 minutes there, or not every decision either, because then it's every decision of what? Everything makes a new thing. So then eventually, if that's the case, then instead of this thing crawling out of the ocean, or this thing, like if elephants eat the same trees as giraffes, and this is the 2 different, eventually hot dog fingers, eventually rock people.
It's like you have said,
so in
angels
my
and
head,
demons, angles and dimensions.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
in my head, instead of going full there, I kind of think everything that's ever happened on this plane is happening on this plane right now.
I do believe that too.
So where my head is,
where
as opposed to like, there's another universe where some of us have elephant noses and hot dog fingers. Like I don't, people. I more so think it's like a flat plane of time working on it all at the same. The vortex or the spiral, where you almost like the tighter you go up the spiral, the less of the past you can experience, because the spiral is so tight.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really believe that now. I don't believe that ghosts that people see are necessarily ghosts or disembodied spirits. I think they're just seeing the other now, like the other people that live in this house, either what I would call the past or the present.
Dude,
but they're in there now.
Yeah, this is the Others with Nicole Kidman, right?
Yeah, like literally it's just there now, and my now is here. But yeah, doesn't that make the most sense? Like instead of like actual hauntings and ghosts and stuff like that didn't move on and go to the light, it literally is just that they're living their experience. They're probably freaking out seeing
like you scared them, and
I scared the shit out of them. Yes.
They're like, I swear I saw somebody with a phone, like a thing in their hand, like a tablet.
What the fuck was that? Yeah.
So just every once in a while, you should like hide in your own closet and like jump out as if there were someone there to scare, because there might actually be someone there that's getting scared.
Like, there's something in my closet.
It's like I don't know if you guys ever seen like a magnet under that magnet viewer where you can see the vortexes and whatnot. Like let's say you take a cylinder magnet and you put it under that magnet viewer, you'll see if you turn it over on a specific like angle, you'll see the vortex like happen, the divide and the 2 black circles with all the energy around it. If you turn that over and you just look at it, it's the symbol literally of the owl eyes. And that's what the symbology and everything, as it goes back into ancient times, the owl and it's the eyes. And it's just so fucking symbolic. It is literally that. This guy who is very into like magnetism. He has a huge channel and he's very sciencey, but breaks it down, talks about magnetism and inertia and vacuums and all of that. He literally broke it down. He's like, the symbology of the owls is everything. Want to know why? Because the vortex. The vortex is in every fucking thing. And he shows it and compares it to everything, and you see it. I have to find the video and show you guys because it blew me away. But that's what it is. Everything has its own vortex and its own energy. And it all
Isn't it weird that the word ghost, they want the word like a silent host in it?
That's very fascinating. I've never thought of that before. The ghost host.
Yeah, like it has the word host in it, but it's silent. Just the same way as the ghost is. I don't know.
Where'd that word come from?
Gnostics.
What word?
Ghost.
I think it's Geist, the German Geist.
Gust.
Like poltergeist.
Geist.
Is that magic? Are ghosts magic? Because I guess I would just consider anything supernatural in some level could be considered magic.
It could be a cursed person.
Well, ghost, breath, good or bad spirit, angel, demon, person, man, human being. Interesting.
But what if, all of our grandmothers had like cuffs, gold and silver cuffs, weird jewelry. A lot of them did solitaire all the time. There's things that the more we research now, we're finding out that these are magic disciplines that maybe all the witches weren't burned. And so it makes me wonder if this is the case through these cities and a lot of these poorer people and a lot of things were happening, there might have been a lot of atrocities the same as now that were happening to people, and people without money put curses on other people. And it could be a way that climbing to the top of certain of these companies' pyramids and becoming a great CEO like a Rockefeller might have been fine and dandy, but all the people you stepped on the way could have cursed you with real magics. And that could cause you not to be able to leave this realm. Or if you believe in something like a heaven, you might also believe in something like a ghost. And you're like, oh, maybe those people are possessed. Maybe they didn't believe, take Jesus Christ as their savior, but maybe they couldn't take anything as a savior other than themselves. Like it would be impossible for a narcissist to think they have a savior.
You know what's
or a
interesting?
psychopath.
That we know of all these beings that we speak of, but we never seen them. But we put them on this level of, oh my God, these are this is this, angels, demons, da-da-da, giants, Nephilim, da-da-da. But we put them on a spectrum of them being so much higher on a level of us than we give ourselves credit for. It's like we're putting them above us, when in reality, it is us who we should be putting ourselves on a pedestal. Like we give them this power and we don't even know if they're real or not, but we give these entities these power like they're above us or something, and they aren't. When we are like the divine beings that were made like beautifully. So I have I'm kind of having trouble with like, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. But divinely created God matter of it all, these beings that we do what we do. But I feel like we never seen these beings, but we give them this high status like they're above us, and I don't like that. It's just me. Like, who are they? And
I don't give anyone a high status.
But even just saying that they exist is giving them a power.
I grew up having a problem with high status. It's one of my problems in life. I have a problem with authority.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
to
why
a
do we do that?
I feel like it's probably a reason me and Thomas are friends.
I love authority.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I know what that is, but I never watched any of that. But I know I've heard enough people do South Park impersonations.
Dude, my voice is like perfect for Cartman now. I love it.
It kind of is, yeah.
I know. I just discovered this last week. Me and my kids are laughing so hard. I was like, dang, I can Eric Cartman like a motherfucker.
You would have been the shit in like 1998.
I know.
If you were a 13-year-old boy in 1998, you would have been the coolest.
You know what though? I distinctly remember like a certain point when I would like go into the lunchroom and every little click, like you would hear like 6 different people all doing Cartman voices at the same time. And then you'd go to the mall and like every single store had some kind of, it was like I still liked it, but I was like, man, this is really being pushed on me hard by somebody.
It's funny.
Cartman.
I lost my ability to sing, but I can Eric Cartman.
Was it worth a trade-off? Was it a good trade-off?
Maybe. It's kind of, it amuses me, so.
So, magic. And my favorite speech that I still always hold on to is one of Chaney's like breakdowns of like magic and the power of the pen and writing. And I don't want to give it all away because I can't do it as poetic. I don't know how to say it how you say it. You say it with like a finesse.
I feel like
you
I'm
know,
mess it up. You say it.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You say you take the, the tree and you make the paper and the whatever and the ink.
The living word.
There you go.
Comes from living things. And like the idea of the pen being mightier than the sword, it matters in so many ways. And so if you took something and you wrote it on papyrus and you took it from a quill, you had ink from, some other animal, you write all these words down and you bind it with a spine and then you wrap it with the flesh of another animal. So you put it in leather. You are creating a living word. And so that was the importance of books all the time and publishing all the time, as everyone couldn't publish. So I think that there's a lot of magic in books and in reading. And that's why it used to be so important for kids to read, because one sentence is an infinite thought if everybody's reading it. Where the second it's on screen or in a picture, it's one thought. This is exactly what it looks like. This is who the person is.
Do you think necessarily it should be published, or is there just a power in writing in general for like your personal growth and then public growth versus, one private, one public, and different types of magic that can be used when it's private and public?
I would probably argue right with the banking cartel that the publishing cartel is the most powerful cartel on the planet. Like Onassis publishing, Maxwell publishing. It's like all the Kennedys, like they all own publishing houses. I think Bezos is
publishing is like the exterior side of intelligence agencies. Like the intelligence agencies, it's very abstract because it's all in like secret databases and like word to mouth, and it's not in like a tangible form. So the publishing, the publishers, and the news, which is all kind of the same thing, that's what actually forms it into like physical reality. That's what takes these weird abstract ideas and theories and stuff and then says, okay, here it is in black and white. Now put it out there for people to ingest it. So it's just like the outward sort of expression of intelligence agencies.
More like MK Ultra, easier. Like if they could propagate. I always think that's interesting about all the King James Bibles and all the hotel rooms. Where they're like, this is the #1 selling book on the planet. Well, look at how many hotel rooms it's in every single hotel room that you've ever been in your life. It's wild.
What's also wild with all this writing talk, the cursive of it all, and how when studies found when you're in the cursive state of writing, it's almost like that scribble method when you're studying and you're reading something, and you're just scribbling and scribbling and scribbling, and it etches in your mind, and you ace the test. You could just study for an hour and whatever. It's that same concept. They realize that when you're in a calm, easy pace and you're not rushing through the whatever you're writing and you're just on that flow, there's a magic to it. And they slowly took that away from us. And now everything is in print. All these different fonts that they created. The one font that they don't even want to show us anymore is the cursive.
Because computers can't read attached letters. And we all of our cursive is fingerprinted to us specific.
Yeah.
And if I write to each one of you in the room the same paragraph, it will look different to each one of you. Like the energy, it won't be the exact same writing in cursive.
Yeah.
And so it's like the emotion will be different in each sentence. My signature will be different. The bubbles will be different. The flow, it'll slant or not slant, you know, and so all of this matters, and it's all very precise, I think, to each of us. It's also very intentional.
Yeah.
Like we're missing a part of connection.
When you're writing in that state, especially in cursive, you can literally feel, almost create a picture in your head of what the person is feeling or saying as you're reading it, because it's so distinct in the way that they're writing in cursive. It's interesting to me.
Part of the thing they always say, like, it seems like a magic of like a free society is that you have to have a post office. And so no one writes letters anymore, or postcards, or sends these kind of things, or buys all sorts of stamps from all sorts of world leaders. Like, what's the power of a stamp? And all of the, you know, and sending these packages all over. So I think there must be something with it that they don't want us to do it anymore. Even showing up in an election vote and not do it with a pen, but do it electronically, that's losing something. Each of these things that take away your human contact to the thing, it takes away the intention of the magic. And then I think the people have less intention with the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't ever have to leave your couch for the food you eat or the governor you pick, it matters that not everyone has enough gumption to get up and feed themselves well in every way, shape, or form. And so maybe that was one of the things about getting off your dead ass and going to Volt, is that not everybody had the gumption to not be a troll on the internet. Like, how many trolls on the internet actually have the balls to say it out loud in real life? No one. So
like,
it's
like an intentional barrier to entrance, which is ironically the exact reason that a whole entire political party is against the concept of voter ID, because there is like a certain extra level that says like, well, you have to at least give half of a shit enough to go and get yourself an ID in order to go and like be able to put your name on a piece of paper, or even the electronic version. And I guess that's one of the things with the electronic version of all this, is that at a certain point, if it's completely electronic and you don't have to leave your couch, and that just means that anyone could do it. Like, it doesn't ever have to be you. And that's probably the real aspect of all this, is like rerouting our magic and just like usurping it from us. You know what I mean? It's like if these idiots aren't going to use it themselves, then we'll use it for them. Like, we'll channel it for them.
And if your intention was like your grandfather's intention was on your land and in that town, and your father's intention was on the land and in the town, and your intention's on the land and in the town, and you've raised kids and grandkids and great grandkids on the intention in the land and in the town, and now 100 illegals can come in without IDs and vote away what your family did in this one cycle without intention. But voting doesn't matter.
You know,
they just want dead people to do it. That's the craziest thing to me. It doesn't matter, but dead people are doing it. Illegals, they're flooding the gates. They're flooding it. They're making towns like Portland, Oregon, and shows like Portlandia.
But how do we keep the dead out? Like, there's no fence you can build to keep the dead people out, right?
That's where I think it's like your voting place, like actually volunteering at your voting place and watching that motherfucker. That's what we all used to do. Like, people weren't allowed to go in at 3 in the night and dump 3 million votes, because people were like sitting in their trucks with shotguns, because it matters. In a lot of countries, it does matter. People wait up all night until it's counted. They've like risked life and limb But look at Brazil right now.
Crazy. Look
Those
at
people are in the
Colorado.
streets.
Colorado.
Oh, look at
holy
Colorado
shit.
right now. Yeah,
Like
for
the
real.
whole a couple of apartment complexes were taken over by
I think in
the
Aurora, not Aurora.
Venezuelan gangs. Like completely took over the fucking apartment complexes with guns, armed, and now the tenants have to pay them the rent, not the actual owners. And the owners called the police officers, the FBI, the DEA, you name it. And guess what the response was? I'm sorry, we can't do anything about it. Not only that, children on buses were almost taken over by these gangs. Now imagine your children on a bus to school or on their way home, and these gang members want to ambush and take the. Y'all, if you don't wake up,
Where's Michelle Pfeiffer when you need her?
Witches of Eastwick, Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, Dangerous. What is it? Dangerous Minds? Was that
Dangerous Minds?
Oh, Coolio, Michelle.
I was thinking Grease too, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle, but didn't she have the one where she like went and taught at like a horrible LA high school or something?
With the Coolio song, yeah.
I need a boy for all seasons, all the year through. A boy for all the seasons.
right?
That's not the one, though. That would have been funny if she broke out singing that one in the other movie.
It was gonna be Cool Rider. I was gonna go with that, but I decided to go with the B side.
I was gonna say Cool Rider. Actually, that's where I was gonna go.
I know, but I was like, let me go with a deeper cut.
Is Colorado a gun state?
Awesome you are. Yeah.
CEO.
We're the people with the guns. What are y'all doing? You letting people take over your fucking state? Y'all nuts. Y'all are nuts.
Three Eyes says it's the gays destroying Colorado. The gays are letting the Venezuelans destroy Colorado.
I don't want to call them gays. You have to call them the LGBTQ because gay people, like actual normal gay people, they aren't about it. Hence my sister, hence Chaney, hence many others that I know that live in Florida that are Republicans. Yeah, it's not the gays. It's the
it seems like you would want to infiltrate. If I'm just like playing CIA games, I would want to infiltrate Colorado specifically because if shit hits the fan, if I'm the elite, I'm going to Dulles, I'm going to like the Denver airport, I'm going to one of these underground military bases that I made. So the way I have to get there is I need total unrest in these states so I can make my flee.
Yeah.
So if I'm watching shit hit the fan with Obama and all the things like rolling out and like desperation and all the pleas, I'm thinking these elites are going to try to run for the border. So they got to, like, any state that has the biggest unrest has the things they are trying to protect the most or flee to the most. And so I think Colorado has, if I'm going to pick like a conspiracy state that has shit going on, that if I could pick like Area 51 or the Denver airport or what's under the Getty or what's under Comet Ping Pong, if I got to pick any one of them, I'm picking Denver airport all day.
Yeah.
Like the way, like the amount of research I've done on that with Lockheed Martin out there the whole entire time and Martin Marietta out there the whole entire time. And then the amount of dirt they took out, how far away the airport is from Denver, Lucifer right outside.
And I don't know how true all these, and I've heard, like, I remember the old Phil Schneider talks from like the early 90s, but there's this concept that when they first built the Denver airport, they dug and they cleared out all this area and they built an entire airport, like a whole like city's worth of an airport. And then the rumor is that they just built on top of it. They just like added a layer on top and then built another airport on top, so that there's actually under the Denver airport, there's essentially like not skyscrapers, but there's like multi-storied buildings, like 3 or 4 story buildings, and an entire city and infrastructure. The same, like if you went to like MCO or any other big airport that's got like 3 or 4 different levels, like that exists under the 3 or 4 level airport that everyone knows about. I don't know how true that is, but I believe that that's 100% possible, because that was a whole entire movement. There's places in Vegas that have 4 stories that go underground and like a real house and like, you know, fake house and fake trees and stuff, like 40 or 50 feet underground. I know, because that's like my dream house.
Like full fake sun, full bomb
Yeah,
shelters.
100%. I mean, well, we already got a fake sun anyways, right? So why can't I have my own fake sun that I've designed?
Period. I mean, it's just a big old lamp, right? Um, okay, to bring it back to the whole trans thing or get LGBTQ thing, YouTube will not let me talk back to my trolls though. Like on 2 different channels, when I said something and I
You
wasn't
guys,
all that
Abbie
bad, it's
has
deleted my
children that
trolls.
came out of her womb.
Yeah,
She's not a them they.
I'm not a them they. I don't care. Call me whatever. But when I want to talk shit back to my trolls, it's literally deleting my comments 3 times.
Deleting your comments? What are you going hot at them?
No, I'm not even saying anything that
Are
bad.
you like, I'm not a tranny. Check my car.
I'm like, you must be a puny man, or
That's the only
like
way
an
you're allowed to say
insecure
tranny.
Batwoman.
I
A
realize
lot of
that
people
you
deletes
immediately
it. That's
follow
it.
it with
It was like
something
it's
about
like
a car.
wanted me to be called a tranny.
Well,
About
I
something
think
about
they're
a car.
filtering.
Finishing it.
They're filtering comments now, like certain keywords, like the dictionary that Thomas is creating.
I guess puny and ugly and fat were not.
You know what's happened to me this week? Which I just always wonder when I get in trouble because I'm like, I didn't even do anything. I haven't even been on IG. And I got a thing this week that says I wasn't allowed to send anyone a private message for 72 hours because of something that I sent. Like, I don't send anything dirty. I don't send anything nasty. Like, I'm thinking, if does IG see what Summer sends me all the time? Like, I don't ever do anything like that. So I'm like, what? I couldn't even comment. I couldn't send anyone a song. I can't even like someone's comment to me. So I can't do anything on IG for 3 weeks in the DM. So good thing I didn't have some private
That's some
DM
like
relationship.
nefarious magical programming right there in that train. Because for us, it's frustrating. But if you're growing up in this and this is like the world you know, like this is a new wave of getting penalized for rules that not only did you not know the rule existed, but even after you break it and you get in trouble for breaking it, you still won't know what rule existed. It's just like you violated the code. And you're just like, which part of the code? They're like, the code. But to us, it's
The code we
frustrating
just
because
created,
we're
but
used to
it's
like
retroactive.
someone being able to show you the manual or tell
Yeah.
you like rule number 12. But like there's kids growing up, I guess this is like old man rant, but like there's kids growing up and their version of this is like, oh, an authority told me that I violated the code. I guess I did. And like they don't even question what part of it.
The code. We are the code.
How much magic's in a thumbs up and a thumbs down?
A lot.
Isn't it funny that they took the thumbs down? Like the White House makes them take the thumbs down off of once Biden becomes the president, they had to remove thumbs down from YouTube. I like how Abbie has a thumbs down face. Like she wasn't smiling. You thumbs down mad.
I think it is really interesting about how they'll take things away once they get popular because they see that people are like the little gun emoji. I guess it's a stupid example, but it's a real example where it was a real gun for the longest time, and then all the companies started turning it into a squirt gun or like a little for obvious reasons.
We had a Glock.
Right. Well, and then
now we have a green
Twitter
squirt
just
gun.
added the gun back, and there's people that are like, they're like, violence is gonna happen. You've got blood on your hands, sir. And I guess it just goes to show like how powerful and magical a little
bullying,
16 pixel image really is. Like that symbol has so much power in it. How is that not an example of magic?
Someone might kill themselves if you send them that. You're right.
I think all the emojis have
magic
in them.
They're sigils.
I think they're picked specifically. It's interesting that whatever goes on in the news cycle, we have the emoji for it. It doesn't matter if it's a sloth virus or a monkey disease. Like it's like a sloth and everything. Like, Like I remember it took forever for them to get fingers crossed. I always remember having to write that. Like, what? There's no fingers crossed? This is bullshit. I don't know. I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think this is not really a magic, it's kind of a physical magic, but do you think there is something to be said about where people send out something and they're like, hey, look at, they're trying to hire crisis actors for Orlando, and we all put it out, and then they maybe a false flag, people are like, no, look, nothing happened. Well, maybe it didn't
You were
happen because we
wrong.
put the
Yeah.
crisis actor thing out. Do you think
Like
there's
Yeah, well, we
ever
called the play. Yeah.
do you think there's ever a thwarting it by just putting too much information to it ahead of time?
Yeah, I would say it's like you could see that even in sports, right? Like football, if you see the play ahead of time and you call a play, I mean, they might probably not in football, but I'm just saying they're going to improvise, right? So,
Or
or we can't do that play. It's not going to work.
or maybe it by exposing it, you stop the magic from happening because it's
Yeah,
supposed to be
that's what
like
she's
hush
saying.
hush. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might also have a lot, just as much, if not more, to do with if it's a national or sort of like a regional or a state operation. If it's like a state operated thing, I do absolutely. Or if it's like a lone wolf thing, just enough people noticing can shake somebody, like almost in a magical way, where like you don't even have to know something's up. But if a lot of people just like get a weird feeling, then the person that's causing the weird feeling probably also gets that. But if it's at a national level, like a straight up assassination or like a major event, I don't know how much noticing or magic can really break that, because now you're talking about like agency dependency, coordination and stuff. Like that's some pretty hardcore magic.
Well, here's some hardcore magic that they bring up on the timeline with Kamala and Biden. They're saying that, oh, this is what's going to happen. Biden is going to die, which he's already dead. He's going to die. Kamala is going to become president, and it's somehow going to fuck up with the whole presidency timeline because she steps in and it's right around election time, and they're going to use that to somehow like not make the elections happen because of sympathy. Just how like they didn't vote her in to be a candidate. It's some kind of like stupid play that they're going to pull, and that's when shit is going to hit the fan and people are going to start like splitting. There's going to be a divide that happens, but then in the end it ends up being good on our behalf. This is what they're spewing out there, and I've seen more than a few lines. I don't know what you want to call them, algorithms showing me that. So, and I feel that's what they're trying to save it for, that last bit.
Do you believe that people can make sigils that carry power?
Absolutely.
Oh, Thomas, you're muted.
Absolutely, yes.
For them, I think for sure. I think a sigil, you can make yourself magic. But I don't know. I think I'm on the fence on like if you can make it magic and then you just give it to someone else or show it to someone else or hide it in someone else's. I don't know if that would actually have any effect over them if they didn't even know it was there.
I don't know.
Well,
you know, the square boxes that
Frederick
the square.
Xavier. I'm sorry.
No, okay.
Have you watched any of his stuff? Like, I think it's called School of Magic. But Frederick Xavier did this one sigil, and he put it out, and he said, "I'm just doing an experiment." He's like, "I was just messing around, so I did this sigil, and I concentrated on it, put it up, and the next day, this object showed up in my yard, and it was exactly what I had intended with the sigil. I was just messing around, and I wanted to see if it would really work." He said, "So I'm going to throw it up on the screen." He's like, "So I want you guys to like look at it for a little while and comment in the comments like if something shows up in your yard tomorrow. I want to know what it is. Like and I'll let you know if you're right." So like everyone does it, and he ends up like several episodes later saying what the object was, and I won't tell you guys in case you ever want to try the experiment, but I didn't get the right thing, but I had something weird show up in my yard that had never showed up in my yard before. So like, but a lot of people,
A bearded midget jerking off.
Yep.
Like,
How
wouldn't
did
that
you
be
know?
weird if you looked
Oh my
outside
God.
and it was like
Chaney,
and
you're
then you wrote
magic.
to him and he's like, "No, I was talking about a rabbit."
You gotta try it.
Do you think with this thing, like the observing, like the idea of not you get a car and then you notice everybody on the road has that car. Do you think there's some kind of like you have to acknowledge something before you'll ever observe it? Like, do you have to want to see it first before
I
you'll ever?
don't believe that. That is like from the what was it, The Secret or the Bleep What Do They Know, where like the Native Americans couldn't see the ships because they had never seen a ship before. I don't believe that. I don't know if that makes me a curmudgeon or like a over the top skeptic, but I
don't believe
believe
that
that
either.
they knew what something blocking light would look like without having to know what the thing blocking the light was, especially from a distance. So if even if they didn't know what a boat was, they would be like, oh, here's a thing blocking light that's showing up. I don't think it just became transparent.
Do you think like at any way it was like a God thing where it was like unfathomable to them? Like even
Yeah.
so they don't have a word for it, they don't have a thing, so it's not there necessarily to them in the reality that they exist. It's like, what is this vessel floating way out there on water? Like
There's a tribe
Kinda
out
not
there
real
that's
almost.
current today that still believe that us humans from America, they think that we're gods because of the flying airplanes. To this day, there's
That's
an
what I was gonna
island.
say.
It's
Yeah,
called a cargo
Like
cult.
Icarus, like there wasn't words for the chariot flying too close to the sun. I mean, it could have been a damn airplane or something
yes.
like.
So they actually have a whole holiday for this, and they write USA all over their bodies because the logos of all the airplanes, their uniforms, they wear them as like ceremonial clothes. Like they worship us from America as gods because of the technology that we have. Till this day, it's still a thing, and they celebrate it. I forgot
And
what
something
island.
real quick with what the bleep do we know? Fuck Mark Vincente. Fuck what the bleep do we know? That guy's the same guy that made the Nexium cult everything that it was. He was the head video production of the Nexium cult. He's the one who
Really?
created.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
That makes so
everything
much
that
sense
you
now.
ever see, any of their, like, he has so much to do with the planning of what the Nexium cult is, the whole structure of the Nexium cult, but he gets away with everything because he's just, I was just a poor innocent who fell for the cult, but he makes all the money off making the videos from the cult. So it's just like, fuck Mark Vincente. And now you can't even Google him or click him anywhere. He gets harder and harder to find because who's in the Nexium cult? I don't know. Stormy Daniels and Hunter Biden, to name a few. Like the Nexium cult's a real interesting phenomena, so to speak. So I think like fuck Mark Vincente. I just have to say that. Anytime
You
What
know
the
what?
Bleep Do We Know comes up, I'm like,
You know
it's
what
like
else?
in the file, it just spills out that I'm like Nexium cult.
Fuck Wikipedia too, because if you go and look for the Epstein files on Wikipedia, guess what? They're almost all gone. Like I think there's only one mention, one file. If you just type in Jeffrey Epstein, everything's like almost gone from Wikipedia. All the files that we had during 2020 with Clintons and the emails, almost all gone.
I saw this happen in real time in the early 2000s on Wikipedia on the article about the Franklin scandal. And because I was, for whatever reason, I was like really deep into that particular subject for the longest time. And I saw over the course of 6 months, it going from having like its own Wikipedia article for every single person involved. Larry King had one, who was the guy behind it, Lawrence King, Paul Bonacci, all the other like kids that were involved. They each had their own entire wiki pages that went into their bio and like all the claims they made. And over 6 months, all those pages got eliminated, like completely gone. And then the article on the Franklin scandal got reduced down to like a paragraph over time or like two. And it didn't even link anything. It was just, and it was so crazy to see that like information just disappearing. And to this day, if you go and look at the Franklin scandal on Wikipedia, they're like, the last time I looked, there was no Paul Bonacci page. There was none of the other pages that referenced all like the specific people that were players in that. So it's crazy to see that just completely go away, and then it just
You know what you should
disappeared for a
do?
generation.
Use the Wayback
The Wayback Machine. That's what I was just gonna say.
Use it. I'm telling you, you
Maybe
could go back for
also,
years.
yeah, maybe on the Secret Society of Good Guys website, we'll also create our own Wikipedia that we slowly add all these names and things. Cause I have so many files and shit
our
in
own
my
wiki.
phone of stuff that's been deleted. Like, even like I have VH1 Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, like Robin Leach doing, oh, let's talk about the dreamy life of Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, that episode. It was a glorious episode.
So it's just like it would be fun to add all these things, and we're gonna make the website kind of Ingersoll Lockwood-esque. It'll be fun. It might take
Easter
all of
eggs.
our work. It'll just be random Easter eggs that we'll all add, but I'll give you guys, we'll figure it out. Anyways, yeah. Interwebs. What other? I was gonna ask you guys, what do you think about aggregors?
What about them?
Do you think those are real? Think that can happen?
If you think
Absolutely.
about them, they become real.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think, if we were talking about the written word and things like that, anyone out there that's ever created a story or created a character, do you fall along the lines of, if you know your character well enough, she writes or he writes themselves?
Pretty much, right?
I don't know. I think you're entering a trance at that point. I think that like you're
channeling.
MK Ultraing and like creating your own version of like a fragmented multiple personality.
Yeah.
So the real, I guess the way that I've understood it, I might be way off on this, but the way I've understood it is that you train yourself to actually develop those as real people, so that if any situation comes up, like you can react the way that they would react in like a little compartmentalized way. It's not that they write themselves, but you could be like, bam, a car just ran into the side of my house, and you can go through and be like, okay, this character would react this way, this character would react this way. And once you do that for enough time, you can just go out through like your normal daily life, and things can happen, like crazy shit can happen, and you can be like, how would character, X kind of handle this?
That's like the whole sorcery, the art of stalking of it all, because you want to have access to other characters. Like he calls it shifting your assemblage point or your awareness, but if you could actually do that, it's a form of magic. Like, so.
Or like shifting your angle?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it would be a form of magic if you could step into different characters
Like
instead
right
of
now,
schizophrenia.
yeah,
it would be controlled schizophrenia, which
it's
would be a
controlled
very
schizophrenia.
high
Yeah,
form of
it
magic.
is, because it's intentional as fuck.
So you're
using it
like,
for a
this
purpose.
version of Abbie is a public speaker.
Yeah.
This version of Abbie is a great mother. This version of Abbie is a perfect wife. This version, but there are all these characters you create that you become that character in that situation.
And you
so
play
much
the role,
so.
you dress the role, you everything. The body language is different. Everything is different for that role.
Does that become LARPing? Like live action role playing, where you're almost faking it until you actually do
Well,
make
it starts as LARPing, right? Like you start there, and then you actually become it. Yeah.
So like LARPing is a high magic.
Yeah, it really is.
I would basically say that's all Aleister Crowley ever really did, was he just LARPed hard as hell. And what is, and this is part, I guess, gets in like weird woo-woo land, maybe. But it's like, think about a con man, right? A con man that is so good that no one ever knew they were a con man. Their entire life, they conned every single person, and it all goes into history, and people tell stories about Grandpa Joe that like did all these crazy things, and it was all a lie. But if they bring that lie to the grave with them, it's not a lie, it's the actual truth. And that's, in a roundabout way, there's that the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and one of the things in that book is he talks about Maya being this big web of illusion, and that if enough people buy into the illusion, that's actually what creates reality. And all I ever think about is like, what if every con man just always got away with every con? Like, how is that not magic? Like they're literally changing reality in an objective way that no one would ever know. It's almost like if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, to hear it, did it really fall? Well, it's like, if a con man cons everybody all the way to their grave, were they really a con man, or were they the thing that they conned everyone into thinking they were? And it wouldn't make a difference because you wouldn't know.
Well, that's like the controversy behind the character of Carlos Castaneda, because everyone's like, oh, he was a big old comment, he was a liar, he's a fraud. But the thing is, if you read anything in the books, it's about deleting your personal history. So he fucking did that. He didn't tell any real stories about his life ever to anyone. He deleted his personal history and became Carlos Castaneda. That's not who he was, you know? Like, he embraced this new, like, LARP. And the whole movie Big Fish, have you guys watched that?
I love
Fucking
that
love
movie.
that
Yeah,
movie.
it's a
Love
Tim
it.
Burton movie, yeah.
And that's what he's doing the whole time. Like, he's he becomes this bigger than life tall tale, and it's beautiful. And then at the end of his life, his son is like disillusioned by it, but really, like, he realizes that the illusion was the beauty of his father, that the story was the fucking man.
That movie's the best example of like a memory palace.
Yeah, it really is.
Like that's all that whole movie is, just showing you here's how to create a memory palace. Here, hey, you had like you went fishing with your dad one time. That's great. You might forget about that, but if you turn it into this story where he caught this like ginormous fish and like that talked to you, like,
And
oh,
it took
you're
your wedding
never
ring.
gonna forget that.
Yeah.
And even if you know that that's all fake, like that fake part will be anchored to a real part. And honestly, that's the closest that I've ever really came to like magic. I think is being able to do crazy stuff with your mind like that, with intention. I guess that's really all magic is, right? Is if you have an intent and then it comes out and you can't explain how the things work, but it just works. It's kind of magic, right?
Like when you're masturbating and thinking about somebody and they text you.
Wait, start over?
You know? When you're masturbating and you think about something during your masturbation session.
I already forgot what you were talking about.
And boom, ding. Oh, hey, what are you up to? Holy fucking shit. Speak of the devil. How many times does that happen? You're talking about someone and boom, they show up, or boom, they call. That's magic. You don't even realize.
I like how it was masturbating when it could have just been how many times are you thinking about somebody?
Yeah, but now we're talking sex magic.
She was going to full sex magic.
Yeah.
Like,
because that's an interesting topic to talk about, sex magic.
In the Big Fish idea of like creating like a character larger than life, then I think of so many of our quote unquote forefathers, or even like heroes, or even like these kind that they become like Paul Bunyan, this giant thing, or
even George Washington cutting down the cherry tree, right?
Yeah, she'll never tell like these stories that become bigger than the actual man himself, where it's like, is there a beauty to it, or is it like, oh, that's just buried trauma? Like even in the Big Fish way of like, oh, that's all just like LARPing so hard to want to become another character so far away from yourself. Oh, that's just trauma. Like the Tawny Katane.
I don't know.
Like where
y'all tell stories like that when I die, okay? If you go to my funeral and I die first, like make up some wild ass stories about me.
I feel like
make my life
I
awesome,
die,
okay?
You'll already have the stories to actually tell about me. You won't have to make any of them up.
Obviously, but I mean, I want it to be like super fictionalized.
Like what?
Like CIA assassin shit.
That might not be so far from the truth.
Yeah, Abbie's hiding in plain sight right now. That's what we call that.
That might not be.
I'm LARPing. I'm LARPing as well.
Shit.
We'll pretend that you were in the CIA.
Yeah, we'll all just fake that Abbie's was once in the
perfect.
CIA.
I love this story.
But somehow we'll figure out how to do it.
You guys are
I'm
awesome.
a handler.
Thank you.
I'm a professional handler.
I know you are.
Okay, we can take a hard right into sex magic.
Yeah.
We can take a hard right into sex magic. But in the intention of it all, there's probably very few times, if gratitude is part of the power of what would make something come to pass quickly, then an orgasm and that kind of gratitude, this is why sex magic would be so powerful, is because there's so much intention. And everything in that moment. And if you have an orgasm and have all this immediate gratitude, that would make especially that's where like you and your partner, if you came together and then you both had gratitude together and like the same common goal, this is
It's almost
I
like
knew you'd
you're
come
in
around
a
on the
time
box saga.
shift. You know?
Well, I was actually like, I feel like part of this because every time I start to say that, I hear Juan in my head say, and that's a moon child.
Well, when you're in that space, when you're like in the creating love or creating sex space, it's like you're in a time vessel because everything seems to slow down, everything seems to disappear. It's like you and your souls kind of enter in a different space, but you're still there because everything changes, everything slows down, the mood of the room, the smell, everything just, I don't know. I picture myself in that state. And every time I go in that picture mode of being in, sexual mode, I always go to that place of like, oh wait, I'm here. I forgot where I was for a second. It's like you go somewhere in a sense. Time slows down.
Like a flow state almost.
Yeah.
Because people would say that like during painting or creating, a lot of the times doing whatever it is that's kind of like your thing. And like you do find this flow state where you're like Thomas could be working on a song and he's like, oh shit, 4 hours went by. It felt like 20 minutes. And like that happens to a lot of people like in this realm when they're like creating something or doing, they get in that flow. And I do think that's similar with sex. Where you almost do get into that flow state of like wherever it is, like the time is not relevant in that same way.
And you have to like sometimes women have it hard to like get into that state because they're always in their head. Do I look okay? Why is the light on? It is a man's kind of job to kind of put her in that flow state by like, heat the oven up a little bit.
You said something
first.
that I have to bring up again because I've been thinking about it so much.
What?
So like Medusa, she has one form of magic put on her like a curse. So she is seen this way. And Layla said something, I think it was on the Sunday show, that literally Medusa, I'll let you say it, which is making me crazy all week.
Medusa was known for turning men into stone. And it was probably because of her beauty and the way that she would stare at men, it would literally make men into stone. Like their dick's hard. And that's probably an analogy that they used instead of like actually turning people into stone. She had the power to turn men into stone.
She had the smolder.
Erect.
Siren eyes.
Yeah.
Was Medusa a tranny?
I mean, when you think about it, the symbolism of her snakes. Like, what do snakes represent? One-eyed snake, we always talk about it. And all the snakes, and probably how many dicks she got hard in her fucking life. There's like a count.
That's why it was a curse. Because like,
2, 3,
if you
4.
went and you got stoned by Medusa, you wouldn't be able to admit
everywhere.
Medusa's the original dickhead. What were you going to say, Thomas? I interrupted you.
No, I was saying that if you went to Medusa and you got stoned, right? Like the curse is that you would go back and like you couldn't admit that you got stoned, so you'd be like, "Oh no, I didn't see her."
I mean,
yeah, you couldn't. I didn't see her. I didn't look.
You go back to the boat with all the warriors, right? And you're like, "No, I didn't get stoned because I didn't see anything."
I just go back and like, damn, hey, shorty, it's good.
And that's where they're like, you better look at her blindfolded.
If you look at her blindfolded, it's not gay.
And then bring her head.
It's not gay.
It's kind of crazy too, because what happened to Medusa's body? What about if it was really her body? Like,
oh my god, they chopped off her head because they were so
too many heads, bro. Too many heads.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's so gay. What the fuck?
What, Medusa?
Yes.
Oh my god. And maybe like the what's his name used a mirror to like make his dick appear bigger than it seemed in an angle.
What about if she actually did have like dicks on her head? And so if you went there and you got hard looking at Miss Dickhead, it was
it's her collection.
Yeah. It was extra
trophies of dicks.
Yeah, it was extra gay that you were like, why did you get hard looking at her with all her dicks on her head?
Yeah, exactly.
Gay.
Gay.
What other kind of magic? It does make me crazy that when you ask people now, like something about magic, most of the time it's Harry Potter, and it's how much real life stuff that I can find in books, like old literature on magic, and it's so similar to this real life stuff they're teaching kids in Harry Potter. And so I almost feel like it's put in our brain to not believe it. It's put there like fairy tale, so we don't think any of it's real. And then all these things we've talked about a little bit tonight, we have to talk about Disney magic, because Disney magic uses these things. Everything we talked about, they use this. So even like that flow state of like, oh, I totally lost track of time of during having sex. That's exactly how you feel inside a Disneyland park.
I have a
To a
question.
So,
science.
like the whole Deathly Hallows thing, did you guys ever learn about the Deathly Hallows as a child before Harry Potter ever existed? The story of death and the man who cheated death, like for him and his sons, by like tricking death, and death gave him the items that, like, this is not a new story. Like, J.K. Rowling did not create the invisibility cloak and the, you know, all the little things that are the 3 things that are part of the Deathly Hallows. That was a story that already existed. Like, I was told this legend as a child. We had like a storyteller come into our school and would tell us like tall tales and stuff. For an artist in residence is what we called it. We'd had an artist in residence, and they would tell us like these tales from other countries.
Well, I have a question concerning Disney and animation. Now, remember how back in the day they used animated, but each picture was hand drawn and flipped through like a fast flip book?
Yeah.
Do you think the magic was more powerful doing it that way with the hand painting and the hand drawing than it is today with it all being digital? Or do you think there's a stronger power in
No,
what
definitely.
they're doing
I
today?
think the old way was more magic.
It
If
really
you
was.
believe in sigil magic, because sigil magic is what, or even like ritual magic, it's doing like physical things the same way, almost like the OA Carlos Castaneda magical sequences. What the hell is it called?
Magical
But like,
passes.
yeah, the
The
magic passes.
movements.
But it's that exactly. If you've got
The
someone that sits
movements.
down and they're drawing Mickey like tens of thousands of times in the same spot over and over, like they are doing very real sigil magic that, at least for everyone in that room and everyone involved, it's magic as hell. I don't know if someone would feel that in like China once it gets to them or anything.
As
But
a
yeah, I
kid, I
think
always
there's
felt like it
absolutely
was
real
magic.
But
You know how
then
they would
think
show
about-
documentaries on it and how they would do it? I'm like, that is so fucking amazing. Like, each fucking scene they had to fucking paint. Like, each movement of the character. And it's
They were
like,
worked
what the fuck?
like slaves, literally.
Yeah.
Like they all hated that.
But they probably
But if
got
you
paid
wanted to
very
do
well.
it at that level, that was the only option.
Yeah.
Cartoons.
Hey, ma'am. Easy boobs.
Mic check.
I would say it's like the same thing as like
Yeah, what
like
does
a
it sound
Britney
like?
Spears concert.
What does Cartman sound like having an orgasm?
Let's see. I give you good sake sake. That was when he was a Vietnamese hooker.
Me love you long time.
Cream Senor guy.
So horny. So horny.
Oh my.
Do you know what's magical that I found out today?
Yeah,
It's
what?
always the gold. Golden shit club, golden hair, gold, gold, gold. Okay. Bacteria eating toxic metal that shits out gold. Like literally. Fucking bacteria that fucking shits out gold. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I heard all these stories, oh, meteorite, boom, splashed everywhere. Do you know that the number one or number the biggest place that you can find huge chunks
Number
of
2.
gold number 2 is in earthquake crevices because of the plates, grinding or doing whatever. It causes this alchemical friction that causes these metals and
I
elements.
totally pictured like 2 plates, like, I don't see nothing wrong.
R. Kelly. Is that R. Kelly? It was
Yeah.
R. Kelly.
It's not my favorite R. Kelly song.
Yeah,
it's the only one I can name.
I like that one that's like, keys to ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen, mama rolling that body, got every man in here wishing. I like that one. I know. I don't listen to a lot of R. Kelly, but I'm gonna listen to Michael Jackson all day tomorrow at work. Michael Jackson was framed. Michael Jackson is Q.
He had that Moonwalker game where his magic or his superpower is literally magic. He fights people. He fights guys that are trying to kidnap children with magic. Everyone here has seen or played this, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Abbie, Layla, you guys ever heard about this before?
No.
I think
it was in actual arcades, but then they brought it out for like Sega Genesis and some other like older 90s consoles. But it's an entire video game based on the short music video / film from Michael Jackson about Moonwalker. But the whole premise of the game in that like short film is that there's these like it's like an Epstein network, literally. Like I'm not stretching here. There's like an Epstein network of men in like fancy suits that kidnap children for like nefarious reasons, and that Michael Jackson is like the one guy that's fighting them all. He's getting the bar fights, he's like dancing, but when he kicks, like, does his like Michael Jackson kick, they all like fly back in the air because it's like magical. It's almost like Carlos Castaneda, right? Like he's doing these like OA style movements and people are getting like blown around and stuff. I always thought that was so wild.
Well, that's what they say, that those movements are based in almost every culture, like cultural dances. Like Lily was saying, like a lot of the cultural dances have them in because they're called like their movements of power. And that's part
Do you think moonwalking is exactly Mercury retrograde movement? It's still moving in the direction, but it looks like it's moving backward.
It looks magic, yeah. If you could pull that off, and imagine if you were the first one that did that and you didn't even like turn it into a thing. You just did it every once in a while. I would freak people the hell out. It would freak me out if I saw someone doing that.
I can moonwalk.
But like we know what it is, right? Because we've seen, and it's like it's a thing. There's a name for it. But if there was not a name for it, I don't know.
Yeah, if somebody did that in a tribe, like, do you think when the natives first saw a moonwalk, was it invisible?
Now that I might be on board with, yeah.
But musing is a high magic, and music is like pretty much probably the easiest way for us to learn anything existing in every culture, being able to create it and how different the music would sound from every place on the planet, from every timeline, how distinctive it would be, how your drums might beat different because of different pelts of different animals that you might use differently than mine, or how your gongs might sound different than my bells because of metals or that you could, harness wherever your kingdom was compared to mine. And so I think these kind of things with music and musings and muses, I think it's such a high magic. And I think that, museums are there also to inspire or to lock up. So we have these like two things that usually happen with muses. I think they are talked about a lot in historical ways, but not talked about how many muses in energetic, like if they could know from birth who a muse was, would they capture them? Would they want to lock them up so they inspired them forever? Would they become like a Britney Spears, where it's just like, would they want to drink their blood?
Yeah. I don't know what show it was recently. I think it was the one about dreaming, and somebody had captured a muse, and it was a writer. a writer that had writer's block and was uninspired, and it's like it kept a muse prisoner forever. But yeah, a lot of people would.
And you have to, go on.
I think like you would trick yourself into thinking that you captured the muse, but I think the muse's whole role is that it captures you. And there's whole lines of thinking that muses are maybe to like overstress this word, but like almost like demonic, like the classical Greek version of like a daemon. It's like you can get swept up in the muse, and now they're using you, like you're just the meat puppet, and they're controlling everything that you're doing, and you're so infatuated with like, wow, look how great I'm doing with everything. And it's just another story of being able to temper yourself. So even if you're going ham, maybe that flow state is like, yeah, you're getting looshed. It's not a flow state, you're just feeling the loosh flowing out of you.
So the devil never lost a fiddle contest in Georgia.
Huh?
Yeah, he just let the other guy feed on the ego of winning, which like probably tastes
That is a win for him
winning.
too.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, if you are the devil, like in this pride, right? If you're talking 7 deadly sins, even.
Yeah. And then
like, I caught you anyway, bitch. It doesn't matter.
It's so what is it, like Tai Chi or Taekwondo, or what's the one where like someone's coming at you and instead of trying to block it, you like pull their fist, like you use their energy and redirect it. I don't know which of all the different Hapkido or
so is innovation
Aikido, or not Aikido, yeah, something like that.
Is innovation always evil then?
No.
Well, we can't say everything is. I think you can't even say anything is good or bad. Like, if you really want to be real, we could say one thing is bad, and we'll say that's harming children.
But we were
right?
talking about musings being demonic,
right?
Like, so if I'm just going along this idea, this train of thought, if musings are demonic, if anything you're inspired by, any kind of innovation, is that demonic? Probably.
I would say so, but not biblically demonic, like DEM, but it's like daemonic, like DAIM, to where like you're getting swept up into like a system, like a vortex, right? Like a vortex is its own thing, and if you knew how to use that to your advantage, then like that's a good way of using it. And if you knew how to use it to make, bad things happen, that's another way. But what you wouldn't want to do is just like get swept up in the vortex and just hang out in it forever. Like it seems like that would be the wrong way to use it. And it's kind of like a muse. Like you don't want to be completely enveloped in the muse indefinitely forever. You want to be able to like use it or avoid it, or like, be aware of this like daemonic power, but don't be absorbed by it.
Use, it's in there. The usury, in the muse.
I always think of the news as calling on the winds, north, east, west, south. That's how they have to call their magic, is they're calling on the winds. And so that way they can make you believe the tale they're about to tell you.
Well,
like some Captain Planet shit. By the 4 winds of the earth, I command you.
In a lot of spells, each wind is different. Each witch carries a different wind in her coven. Like the winds are super high, powerful magic, and not every witch can carry every wind. And you can't pick a coven that it's like they always say like a coven will naturally select, like in books that I've read, because you won't end up with 3 west winds in a coven. It just won't happen. That's why. So it's just this has happened. And people say for a very long time of like a lot of family crests represent what family winds they also carried. And that was why it was so important to protect the wombs.
Because is this like the OG Hogwarts?
I know.
Like I've read
so many different like old, I think a lot of like witch writings would have been the first to always get buried and burned. Like the woman she would always have to pretend she could even write. She would always have to pretend she couldn't even read. Like a woman never went around and told everybody that she spoke multiple languages or could also use a pen or read. She would lose all her power that way. So a woman would regain all her power by her secrets and the people she decided to tell the secrets too.
Yeah, like Agrippa. He has 3 magic books. One's natural magic, one's whatever. And in the natural magic, he talks about the 4 winds. And the one wind, I think, is towards like, I guess, November, getting into fall. It's more like a sickly wind. One wind is like a healing. One is like to send messages. It goes deep into like what the different winds stand for and the different names of them and where they come from and the different attributes of them. And
like bossy
right.
and flighty. And like they even have like energies about them that it's like, oh, this bitch.
Yeah.
And she's my best friend. She's a real bad witch. She's no.
You know how people talk about some winds that, speaking of stiff neck, like how some winds will like enter or pass you and then you get the shivers, or some of them will get you sick. Like the winds, like if you have a door open and the wind open and it creates like a force in your house, like they say that wind will get you sick because it's not blowing in the right direction. It's creating an energy force.
Feng Shui is all about directions.
Yeah.
Of how you set up your house. But also I've heard that the way that the church has it set up that people cross themselves is an opposite of calling on the winds in the original crossing that the witches used to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the witches would call on the winds in the direction, instead of doing like father, son, they would call on the wind to the north.
Yeah.
And then to the other direction. So it would it was a different.
Travelers have to follow certain winds.
Seafarers have to follow winds.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Mariah conquering wind?
Mariah, the one who sacrificed her mother and sister?
Yeah, they're apparent. So this, I'm trying to still track down where this specific phrase came from, but there's a guy, John Todd, in the 70s, who kind of contributed to like the Satanic Panic epidemic, but he wrote about this like Illuminati like druid magic coven, and that they refer to themselves as the wind of Mariah, or Mariah conquering wind, like that exact phrase. And I don't know if he just made this crap up, but he claimed that this was the highest level of the Illuminati and they were all doing druid magic, and that this was like one of their most ancient names. And I know it's biblical. I know the Mariah story, it has some kind of biblical reference, but the specific Mariah conquering wind, I've always wondered if that was something he just made up or if there's like a deeper connection to that. Yeah, Mariah Carey conquering wind.
Well, I do think it is strange that Mariah Carey's estranged sister had a tough life before she died, and her mother died, and they died like the same day.
Yeah.
And in the like Hollywood, I like to say Jennifer Hudson, Queen Latifah, Kanye West. It does seem like a lot of these people have to like sacrifice family members right before they pop off. So I'm like, oh, is Mariah about to have a big resurgence in fame? But it should also be said that Mariah Carey was an abused child and she was handed around Tommy Mottola. But in this, also in the Mariah Wins of it all, in the show and the Tommy Mottola, you can find tons of interviews of Michael Jackson talking about phone calls with Mariah Carey late into the night, talking about how evil Tommy Mottola was. But that's a whole different thing.
Well, and Mariah is directly linked to sacrifice, because the word Moriah with a O, Moriah, that was the mountains where Isaac Moses brings Isaac in order to do the sacrifice. So
Abraham.
So the Mariah conquering wind, what is it conquering? But it's obviously the wind that's blowing around Isaac and Abraham. But what is the conquering aspect? But Mariah, right? It's sort of, it seems like it's connected to this concept of that same like Abrahamic sacrifice.
Some people believe like the same way that they like we talk about harp or chemtrails, that there's also like weather magic that goes on, and the same like a rain dance, for example. And so in the TV show, what is it, Fort Salem, the women who coven up, they all have to have tones with their voices that they almost harmonize together, and that creates a vortex. And so we've been talking about the power of a vortex and a spiral and everything the whole night. It's like my wind that I call on, and my tone and your tone and another tone, it all creates a vortex, and we control the weather that way. And you're next level if you can control these by yourself. Like, that's such a rarity, but it's all done with tonal magic. So if we're talking about drums and flutes and strings and all of these things, think of Mariah Carey's vocal range. Like, and how crazy that would be to your tribe compared to my tribe if we were doing some of these enchantments or incantations of things. Like, it would be wild if you came across a Mariah all of a sudden and she was dolphin high and then singing low, with the dudes.
So how does AI music play into that? Where like now you can get someone that can sing forever without taking breaths and hit like all sorts of tonal changes that a normal human could never compete with.
Well, it's like in the OA when they're all doing the movements, but the lady from the future who's moved back into the past or whatever or changed dimensions, she has the little robots that are doing it. The movements for her.
I was just thinking the exact same thing of like the robots doing the movements, but then also of if our cursive and everything or is these kind of movements of something and they're taking away but harnessing these movements somewhere else. Like, think of these movements we're not doing anywhere, take away anything that it means politically, but how much more do we used to pray 50 years ago? Like, take away the prayer, but like getting on our knees for anything. How much more did we all used to do that as people? Or how much did we used to write or just flow with our hands that now we just do this all the time? Like, our parents didn't have carpal tunnel. It's probably an injury of something I'm not allowed to talk about, really. That's what I knew. Carpal tunnel is algae.
So we were talking about the winds. I wanted to read a little bit about what the winds do and what the winds' names are, and it's pretty interesting. Cold Boreas from the top of Olympus blows, and from the bottom cloudy Notus flows. From setting Phoebus fruitful Zephyrus flies, and barren Eurysus from the sun uprise. Now Notus is a southern wind, cloudy, moist, warm, and sickly, which Hieronymus calls the butler of the rains. And then Boreas is contrary to Notus and is the northern wind, fierce and roaring, and discussing clouds, makes the air serene, and binds the water with the frost. And then the Zephyrus, which is the western wind, is the most soft, blowing from the west with a pleasant gale. It is cold and moist, removing the effects of winter, bringing forth branches of flowers. To this, Arius is contrary, which is the eastern wind, and is called Apeliotis. It is waterish, cloudy, and ravenous. And then it goes on to the sayings, like the little poems about each wind. But that's what the winds pretty much do. They have their own purpose and its own, I guess, makeup, its own density, frequency, power, color, probably even smell too, because you know how each season has its own smell. To me, I think summer has its own smell, spring has its own smell, autumn has its own smell. Did I say too much? Did I talk too much?
No. No, I'm actually thinking, because we were talking about clouds earlier and winds, and so it's like if wind is just a current, that's forever there. Like, where does wind start? When does wind start? Does it blow infinitely? Does a wall stop it? Does it blow around it? Where does wind stop and begin? Like, this is little kid questions that I can get trapped in that make me insane. Like,
where does it come from?
Some of the stuff I talk about on the phone with some of my smartest friends, if I'm going to be honest with you. Some of my most intelligent friends, we will sit for 20 minutes and be like, but where does the wind come from?
But where
But
does
where
it
does it
go?
come from?
Is it from a
Where does it
suction?
come
Is it from a fan? Like, think of all the ways that you'd create wind in a natural environment. We always talk about gravity and, oh, ways that we can create this in a sealed environment. Cool, bitch. We create it with a fan. We create it with a vacuum. We create it with a suction. We create it with like, think of all the ways that you can do it. Where is it starting and going? And then electricity or a slap, like that, seemingly, does that create wind? Like, what creates like this wind? Different than, oh, this is a whole jet stream that just stays always there and goes up like this and down like this and up like this and down like this.
Even just seeing the different patterns in the clouds from the wind.
Is this too high a conversation for you, Tom?
Well, even the ancients, how they talked about, like, you know, if you just shut up and listen to the wind, it's like the wind carries a message. The clouds carry it. It's the ether. It's the ether.
I don't know.
Maybe it's the plasma.
It's like the ocean, because that's current too. Like, we talk about currency. And like,
I always go back to plasma for some reason. I don't know
I know,
why it's stuck in my head.
That's every time you say it, I always want to shout out to J Dreamers. Every time you say plasma, shout out to J Dreamers. We need to make a plasma Secret Society of Good Guys logo for the corner.
I don't think of plasma as that, like, oh, we're gonna have a plasma like ending. I think of plasma as this like substance that we can't even explain yet. Like, maybe they know the explanation, but I think it's like this matter that is everything and in everything, like literally everywhere, in every being. Isn't that true? Plasma energy?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's actually plasma and wind are very similar, I think, because like wind is a liquid, air is a liquid, water is a liquid, almost everything is a liquid. They just all move in various paths, right? But plasma, I've kind of always understood to be oversimplified, but it's just like the liquid form of energy in a way, and specifically being able to get it to adhere to some sort of like principles that would resemble like thermonuclear, or like liquid dynamics.
There's something about it. I'm going down that plasma rabbit hole.
Oh no. It's giving me there's something about it.
This is magic. Talking with your hands is magic.
Yeah. There's even mudras that they always say that Donald Trump is using, like the Illuminati that Jay-Z does. They'll say that Donald Trump does it.
You just did it. You're in the Illuminati now.
I know. They'll take that picture. But Donald Trump does it. It's down. But there's a mudra in public speaking that they actually tell you, if you put your hands like that on a table, it will make somebody else quiet the room for you so you don't have to. Somebody else will say, like, quiet everyone, Thomas is trying to talk. Like, or some like, it's like whatever the power move is of your hands on a table like that, it seems like
it's like having the rain stick.
Yeah. And so, but somebody else, instead of you being like, you don't have to do it. Somebody else in the room will do it.
I got the magic conch, bitch.
Yeah.
I got the magic stick.
The conch. If you put your ear to your conch, do you hear the ocean?
How
my
far are
conch?
you putting the ear?
I don't think I could reach. Did you say conch or conch?
Yes.
Conch.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. All right. Did we hit some magics today? Does anybody else want to bring up anything?
How about the chat? Do you guys have anything magic you want to talk
Yeah,
about?
somebody brought up snake oil earlier.
Which
Snake
is
oil.
Placebo?
Snake oil is basically oil. It's just regular oil. It's petroleum. And like, for example, Rockefeller's dad, like the patriarch of the Rockefeller family, he was a literal snake oil salesman that would go town to town and basically convince people to just consume petroleum as like this magical cure-all. And then ironically, or maybe magically, it ends up becoming the actual oil that everybody uses, like even to today. Like, it's where all the energy essentially is coming from. So that scene's really freaking magical, almost like he started with like the fake con man thing. Wild Bill Devil Rockefeller is his name. Devil Bill Rockefeller. But yeah, like he started with like selling people a scam, say snake oil, but that same snake oil, his ancestors or his like progeny, they end up using it and becoming wealthier and more powerful beyond anyone's imagination.
Isn't that interesting how they would name it snake oil?
Is making fun of Medusa and her head of dick snake oil.
Well, that gives a whole new meaning to snake oil, doesn't it?
Blame it on Medusa.
You'd have to go to her head with a cup and put the fangs over it like that. Yeah, that's how you have to jerk off her head.
Yeah, you got to go milk Medusa today.
Yeah, go milk Medusa, cup with the fangs.
Yeah.
Fangs.
I love you, chat.
I know, you guys are so silly. Abracadabra. And then
Abracadabra.
I create or destroy what I speak.
I think Abracadabra is a cool one. The same thing with like the Saturnian Square, that movie Tenet. I always like bringing that one up as a good example. But they were just these magical, like Abracadabra was just like a shape. Like you could draw it in like this triangle and it would always say the same pattern. And it's really unique, but it's kind of applying like a mathematical principle and then using letters to make it easier to understand the numbers. Because not everyone understands like the formula for why these shapes and these certain arrangements are like somehow magical. But if you can make it like, oh, I get it, the word keeps repeating, like it's just another way of showing this like really deep concept. And all those magical squares are exactly like that. It's essentially Sudoku in a way. Like Sudoku is just as magic as Abracadabra.
You think there's anything to like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo? That whole song in Cinderella?
Go on.
It's Alakadoola, Magical Boola, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Like, it's none of it is fucking words. It's just put it together. What have you got? Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. But that's what she says when she's fucking doing her little spells.
You know what, though? That's actually based on a Jewish folk song that is got some magic behind it.
I was going to say, there's
like
magic
an old
to it,
Yiddish folk song. A lot of
Wow.
those like really catchy early Disney songs from, I don't know, like the 30s all the way up to maybe the 50s. A lot of that was based on Jewish folk songs that were just catchy already. Like from hundreds of years, they were like, what are the best earworm Yiddish folk songs? And they use all of like the cadence and like the melodies and everything, and then just turned it into Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo.
So Abracadabra, from late Greek abraxas, Kabbalistic or Gnostic name for the supreme god and thus a word of power, it was written out in a triangle shape and worn around the neck to ward off sickness. And you know who else wears triangle-shaped amulets with square magic in it, and they're called haimaliyas or talismans that they wear around their neck. A lot of the Hadith followers in Islam wear them. Fuck the Hadiths, just saying.
I need to find that song on my computer.
I was gonna say, you need to play the clip.
Like literally.
Yeah, we need a
annoying.
clip. I need a like clip that comes across and it's just Layla tink 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 tink, and it's like the Hadiths just getting bullets in it.
Yeah, so they'll take words from the Quran and change God's name into whatever jinn they want to use in protection or whoever's name, and just put it in there and verses in there and just change up the words and use square magic with numbers and dates and names. And they wear it around their neck. They'll put it in their water to drink. They'll sleep with it in a pillow. Like I've been to some people's Albanians' houses where I slept on a pillow and I found these amulets in there. I wouldn't fall asleep until I knew I flushed that thing down the toilet or something. Shat on it and then flush it down the toilet or something, because I don't trust that shit. But it's a thing. It's triangles. The triangle.
Triangle. And then
Triangle,
the Hollywood
three
wand.
angles.
I think there's different kinds of magic that's in different kinds of woods. I think holly is just one type of wood wand, and that is like a big one that we know. But I think there's a whole bunch of different kinds of wands and shapes and gems that you would put on wands that would amplify. And even in the Bible, how they had these sticks, I think a lot of them, like if you see people with like watering rods or different copper on the bottom of those things and grounding out and different energies, like I like hitting, even if you were going to separate water, I don't think that would be an impossibility with the correct staff and vibration.
Yeah. So why do you think George Washington cut down a cherry tree? Didn't he need, it's a wood?
Did he need a wand?
Did he need a cherry wood wand?
Why
a cherry tree?
Tell a lie.
So
I'm trying to
symbolic.
remember the specifics of this, but I've heard that there was like a treaty or something called like the Cherry Treaty, and that he promised that he wouldn't sever like an agreement between these two entities that was referred to as the Cherry Treaty, and then like over time or maybe intentionally it got twisted into like him not chopping down a cherry tree, but it was really about him not violating. It might have been someone with the Native Americans. I wish I could remember exactly what it was, but that this whole story, it's just like someone just swapped the letters somewhere down the line, and now everyone thinks about a tree and not like a legal document or like an abstract, like geopolitical stance that he had taken.
Yeah, why feed us the whole thing about a cherry tree?
Can we gematria the I cannot tell a lie?
Well, and it might have been I never know like which avenue to go on this one. So it's either that someone did like the big fish thing, right? They were like, hey, we caught this huge fish and it was psychic and we could talk to it, and it's such a great story, but that like that part can get passed down so far over 100 years or a couple generations, and now all of a sudden people think that there was literally a huge giant fish that could talk, and they've completely lost like the forest for the trees, because now they're so focused on this like supernatural fish and not that it represented like a really important story, and that was like a hyperbole just so that you can remember it. I think it could be something similar.
Do you know what I remember about George Washington from when they told me in the first grade?
Wooden teeth,
cherry tree, the axe, his pilgrim shoes, and that's it.
But the wooden teeth wasn't true either, I don't think.
No, not at all. Him or Abraham Lincoln. They had like teeth made from humans.
Yeah.
And pearls.
And on the dollar bill, I think he had cotton stuffed in his cheeks when he sat for that.
Crazy.
Because of his teeth being bad.
I recently found out they used pearls for like fake teeth, because it was the closest thing to like human structure of a bone. Interesting stuff. Pearly whites. Why they call them pearly whites? They got it from somewhere.
I'm making sure I don't make Chaney puke tonight, so I'm not gonna say what I was thinking. But
what pee?
Something about pee. Go on now.
About it.
Say it now. It's the worst when people say I'm not going to say, and then they plan on saying it.
No,
it's just going to be longer and tedious.
Nope, we're just going to go
and say it now.
Say it.
Well, just knowing what people did back then, to like when they had bad teeth, like
they gargled piss.
Yeah, but I bet they practiced some Shivambu stuff. Maybe not drinking it, but just like
that's probably why they all died young. What do you think like Benjamin Franklin? I always think there is something more symbolic about the kite with the key and the electricity, almost like he is telling us something like this is the key to electricity. There's something more to it than
it's in the ether.
The clouds
again. Yeah, winds.
The ether, the plasma.
Figure out the direction of the
clouds
wind
gave me the idea
magic.
of electricity. Hello. It's not the lightning, it's the clouds.
And then I was going to ask you if you think magic becomes higher if everything's about intention or whatever, but sacrifice involved in it. And then is human sacrifice the highest, and is the rarest human the highest? And then Benjamin Franklin had so many dead bodies in his house.
Did he really?
Yeah, I feel like in Benjamin Franklin's basement, he had tons of dead bodies.
Yeah, they were doing renovations on the house, and they had to dig up part of the foundation I believe. I think this is in England, and they had to dig up part of the foundation, and they found like a crawl space under the basement that had at least I'm gonna probably undershoot it. I think it had at least like 13 separate people's remains.
So
And
is the story of John Wayne Gacy all a fallacy, and it's always been Benjamin Franklin?
well, or he just passed the torch.
He was fucking the corpses. That's what he was doing. Yeah.
Well, if you cut their heads off, you don't even need their head.
I'd like to see you
Just
catch
saying,
electricity with the
Medusa.
key before you start criticizing his methods.
Make sure you have a silk thread.
Maybe there's something. I don't even know. It's all good. No, there's nothing to that. That's just sick. It's just sick. Maybe there is something. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say maybe there is something to like actually fucking a corpse that we don't know magically that they're doing.
What? I was
Dude,
not expecting
listen,
this.
I'm saying it. I'm saying it because I said that he fucks corpses.
It seems dark.
Like Necronomicon, necrophilia.
I'm not saying to do it because that's fucking sick, but men are doing it anyways.
There is got to be some super dark magic to it, and because if we were talking about energies and things like ghosts that don't have vessels, then something fucking just a vessel without an energy in it, there has to be something about that is, because a lot of these serial killers that do all this ritualistic shit, they're also into necrophilia. Like it's like also a thing. Like Ted Bundy, he would go back to a body like weeks and weeks later and keep fucking it. That's next level darkness.
Well, I think that's just standard fare necromancy. Even back in the day, I think that was like one of the unspoken subtexts of protecting bodies, because not only were they going and digging it up and taking little parts, but they were doing stuff. They were doing sex magic with the dead bodies, and that was like so taboo that it didn't really get spoken of as much. But that's one of the things that they were doing.
And I think that they would probably do something like where they're like preparing vessels in ways for deities or energies to come into it. I would believe they would take a vessel that didn't have an energy attached to it, and then intentionally in their brain, they would be having sex with something else. And so they would be putting an energy into like, this is so like, I'm just picking this name, but not this, like, I'm going to have sex with Cleopatra. And now I can actually do that. Like the vessel makes it even more real. Like that they're going through this ritual of this thing.
I'm trying to understand what.
It's darkness.
Yeah. I'm not trying to like understand because I want to know like.
Yeah, like if everything we imagine birth just happening through like, okay, a lady and a man have sex and then a birth is a baby. But I think anytime energies play, sometimes things are birthed. And that's where like musings are interesting. So if they have a song come out and everybody's inspired to kill themselves from the song, it's like birthing an idea or birthing an energy. And so somewhere in that like necromancy, they're birthing an energy that maybe doesn't have a vessel.
Well, yeah, it's that DNA, that substance is going to change into something eventually. It's going to become something. What? I don't know.
It's going to become piss and then you drink it.
What kind of bio sludge it'll turn into? But
I don't know. It's wild. And then you drink it.
Wild.
Then it turns into plasma and then you drink it.
I'm drinking plasma.
I know plasma seems delicious. It looks like it would look like the clouds behind you.
Like, what do they call it in like, what do the gods drink? Ambrosia.
Hey girl.
Ambrosia.
You should come and try this plasma. Wait until I get my code for my favorite drink.
You know what?
You guys my code.
For the people who
That's how I'm
believe
gonna
in this
sell it.
stuff right here, the people who believe in this stuff, you should try drinking the concoction instead of injecting it and see how we feel about it. Or even if you'll survive. If you'll still be alive. I'm
Would
just curious.
any of you eat ectoplasm? You know, like the old, like from the night, like the the 19th century, where they would take a picture and people would have like the weird like ghost plasm come up. Would you eat that if it gave you some kind of power?
As long as it wasn't like snot, I would be fine. Yeah.
I think it is like snot though.
Oh, then no.
I can't. The texture would gross me out.
I can't
Look at
even.
boogers.
Yeah, I
Boogers
can't.
make
I
me sick.
couldn't do respiratory
Even if
therapy
you
at
got to
all.
talk to
Like
grandma
one day.
for like 15 minutes.
Mm-mm. This is worse than piss.
It's doing something weird to me too. I'm like, right? It's doing something heavy and weird in the back of my throat.
No good. No bueno.
And my imagination is so gross. Like sometimes I'm appalled by my own imagination and the pictures that it shows me, or the like things that it makes me think of. I just have to tell you, it made me think of, you know, the like when you went to the 50-cent machine and you got the slime. That like slime. Well, but it made me think of like that coming out of somebody's face. But for some reason, remember the way we used to bite silly putty? It made me bite. It made me like pick the green sludge and I bit it in my mouth, and I'm like, so
yes, yeah, or like Fluffernutter, but more like snot Fluffernutter.
But that's what I was thinking about nut. Like, why am I so disgusted about that consistency when, you know, I've had nut before, so it's like I shouldn't be so hard on a substance.
It's probably just like thick and pussy.
Oh my god.
It seems so specific per person. Like, doesn't it? It just seems like an infinite amount of different colognes or flavors. Like a juice box of infinite flavors. All right. I just imagine, I mean, girls are kind of like that, but you don't have to, it's not a big gulp.
Yeah. And it ain't funky.
That was a whole bunch of stuff to put weird in my mouth at the end of the show. I know. I have a weird, like, my imagination does the weirdest. Sometimes I'm in adult situations and people are in the middle of a meeting, and then I'm just like, what if this CEO just got on the table and started banging her legs and singing 9 Inch Nails? I want to fuck you like an animal. And I'm like, stop it, brain. What are you doing?
Like, and I'm the person who'll go, and they're like, what's so funny, Abbie? Like, you wouldn't get it. Trust me. I'm not telling you.
Like, my brain will do the weirdest thing, or I'll watch somebody else eat and I'll see one piece of slime go from their sandwich to their whatever. And now I can't eat around some disabilities. I'm going to be real honest. Like, I get like, I'm grossed. I'm grossed out. Some kids play with their food too much. If bread gets too soft and kids are playing with it, or bread ends up in water at my table, I can't.
I don't know how people drink while they have a full mouth of food and they're sucking on their soda at the same time. I'm like, you're fucking nasty, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Some people are nasty eaters.
Down.
Full piece of like Big Mac in their mouth and they're just chugging like fucking Coke. I'm like, ew, that's a bad combination, man. Like soggy cotton bread. Ooh,
I don't like soggy bread. When people do weird things with bread, it like I don't even like soggy bread if like a sandwich of mine is like, you know, you get to order a sandwich to go or something, you get home and it sat too long or it's too greasy. I'm like, done. Can't.
Yeah.
Hamburger, all greasy, bloody bread. No.
Nobody want limp sandwich.
So much gross stuff
limp
in my
bread.
mouth at the end of the
Like, nobody want limp bread.
I don't trust bread. There's too many little pockets for things to hide in.
Are you not a bread person?
I heard something about bread and like religion and like Christ risen and, you know, the whole risen part, and then Jews, how they don't eat risen bread but they eat the flat bread.
Unleavened, yeah.
Yeah, so it talks about risen and not.
I don't know how accurate this is, but it's because the unleavened bread doesn't have yeast.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
Nothing had to die. Like an animal didn't like actively die in the process of creating the bread itself. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, like the bread of lamb or lamb bread or something, the bread of God or something.
Lamb's bread.
Yeah, something like that. How
Isn't that
they
just
word
really
it.
good weed from Jamaica?
I don't know.
Well, if you're kind of thinking about it for real, like he has risen. If you were to take bread, like back in the, if you were to make bread now and you didn't have yeast, the yeast gathers from the environment and everything. It might take that long depending on the environment for your bread to rise and for you to push it down and for it to rise and you to push it down and for it to rise and then before you bake it.
Yeah, and that creates the gluten, which is the gluttony of things. It's
And if you rinse all that stuff away, like there's a difference too, because I would say all the gluten intolerance is from fast rising yeast.
And letting it rest.
Yeah, like all of that is
Are
like
we
super
bread?
important to baking.
Well, because gluten's the protein in wheat.
Yeah, but
and if you take
it
it
has
like
to go through a process. No?
Yeah, it has to go through the natural process. And so like real yeast, if it's going compared to like quick rising yeast, if you take all the flour away and work it, you can pull the gluten out of it.
Yeah, you
and
can
it
do it.
is
Just run it in water. It's really cool.
It's like snotty.
It's fun.
It's like a hard little substance. It feels like cancer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sticky
Gluttony.
and gluey.
But look at, we're also talking like Jews have kosher things. So everything they eat is preyed upon first. And so even people that aren't religious at all, or religious people pray before their meal or pray over their meal first, but even people that aren't religious at all will like write love on their water or prosperity on their water or do things like this because they believe energy goes into food, or you can change a meal at the offset. So then think about if everybody, you just were like, hey, we really care about you. We want you guys to be the healthiest that you can be. So a big, huge thing is you want to have kosher food because somebody is blessing that food. Like what?
I think you should bless every meal.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter your religion. Like Reiki, even you can do Reiki over food.
Like that concept of like somehow injecting or like rubbing off your energy onto water or food, whether it's like prayer or intention or whatever. But like, what if theoretically, like your DoorDash driver was just doing sex magic, like on their own time, and then they get into the car and they deliver your food? Are you eating their sex magic because there's like remnants of it left over?
Yeah, technically.
I don't know. Have you ever watched like Water for Chocolate? It's like it's
Johnny
one of the
Depp
most
movie.
No,
No,
it's
that's
not Johnny
chocolate.
Depp.
Oh, that is chocolate.
It's all Spanish. It's all in Spanish. There's a couple of sentences in English, but it's a tall tale, and it's about a girl whose family, like she's the youngest daughter, so she's basically in slavery to her mother forever. So she learns to cook in the kitchen, and when the lady who's teaching her to cook always puts her emotion into it. So when the girl's crying, she'll put her tears in the wedding cake at her sister's wedding because she was in love with the boy that her sister's marrying. So then everyone at the wedding is like longing for their true love after they eat the wedding cake, and everyone's crying and it ruins the wedding. And her sister, she's feeling really passionate one day because this man buys her flowers. So she takes like the roses and she bakes them, or like she makes like some like pheasant dish and everything with the roses and this beautiful sauce, and her sister's like masturbating at the table, like she's doing sex magic because she's putting the emotion into the food. But it's such a great concept. Like
I feel like that when I was a chef, that it was my energy was everything. Like me keeping a good energy for the plate I was cooking, it was everything when I was preparing it. And I think it would be a super high magic because you would, on a boat, the chef is like second to the captain, to the king. It wants to eat the best food. All the president's men want to eat the best food. It's like no matter the thing, somebody has to know how to prepare it. Even on Survivor, if you burn the rice, you're going home.
Honestly, do you think
like oh my god,
having one person cook your meal versus like 4 or 5 different people putting their hands or their 2 cents in the dish complete, is the magic higher when it's the one person who's really focused or doing the complete beginning to end? Or is it more powerful having different
I think it's intention on everything, because I would think like a Thanksgiving where you made a bean casserole and I made a turkey and somebody made mashed potatoes. But I think that would be all of us doing separate parts, but then all going to the same plate is kind of a similar thing. I think that would be really high magic. But I think one person, like a very loving, you know, like one mom, she's always in the kitchen, or one dad always in the kitchen, and it's like their thing. I think that would be.
Yeah, I think like that's the full complete spell from beginning to end. Like unbroken.
Isn't this the plot of Simply Irresistible? It was like a 1999 movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Love that
and
movie.
she's like, she can cook like food magically, and like it's like a rom-com because of it.
Because of the crab, the blue crab.
Yeah, that's right. It was like a magic crab.
Yeah. So like when she would cry. She was crying because she was sad, and everybody was out there eating her food, the sad dish, and everyone was sad. And then she had the loving dish, the sex dish, and it was beautiful. I love that movie so much. And that's how I believe food is. That's like my understanding of it. Is that how you feel, they will taste it. If you're in a good mood, it's gonna come out. You're by yourself in the kitchen, vibing.
I know I've asked this before, but I just have to shoehorn it in since we're already on this topic. But like, would you rather eat from a really pissed off Michelin star chef, or like a 14-year-old that doesn't know how the hell to make anything, but that like really is putting all their love into it? Like, wouldn't you still always pick
Michelin
the
all
pissed
day?
off Michelin?
all day.
Aren't all Michelin star chefs always pissed off anyways?
Yeah,
but they rarely touch their food.
But they're pissed off because
they're
of
walking around their
perfection.
kitchen like a little general.
Yeah.
And the person that's touching the food, they rarely touch the food at that
like
point.
the person that's getting yelled at by this general, are they putting like their love into that, or are they like,
it's
oh,
an
shit,
anger
oh, shit.
of passion, anger of
It's the
love, and an
respect.
anger of perfectionism, and you
Like you want
the
your
dish
coach to be so
perfect.
proud.
Yeah, it's like that is a Michelin star dish, and it has to be fucking perfect, or I'm fucking cutting your dick off on this fucking chopping board. You hear me, motherfucker?
And I'm gonna put it on Medusa's head.
I will feed it to you, motherfucker. That's how I will eat it.
Do you guys have anything going on this week? Do you have anything magic going on this week? Anyone? Bueller?
I have a bartending gig tomorrow night for a house thing for rich people.
Hell
so
yeah!
maybe I'm gonna
Make
find
that
a
money.
rich husband.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not? I don't give a shit.
Why not?
Yeah, let him take care of me, bro. Why not? I'm gonna work too, but like I want a rich husband.
Why not?
Why not? That's what I'm manifesting. That's it.
Done.
Done.
And sweet and intelligent and funny. All the other things too.
Yeah. But he has to be rich. Yeah. Dude, it blows my mind. Listen to this story. There's this Arabic lady. She's talking about. She's sitting. She's like, guys, I'm here. I'm watching these two couples on a double date. Both the men sat their asses down while the two girls got up and paid for the men's dishes on the first date. You know, like double date. And I'm like, I would never, ever pay for a man. Never in my life would I ever pay for a man. And if the guy decides, hey, you want to go 50-50, I'm throwing that check in his fucking face. I'm saying, you're not a fucking man. Have a great night. I'm never speaking to you again. The fact that women here in America allow this to happen is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
I will tell you that you are not I've heard so many American women say that it's not they have their own money.
Doesn't
if you're
matter.
asking me to go somewhere
Doesn't matter.
with you and hang out, you should treat me to that thing.
I'm gonna pay for dick. Get the fuck out of here. No, never. No. I'm never paying for dick.
You think Emil's paying
you want
for
to pay
pussy?
for dick? Go. Yeah, absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
does that work for same-sex relationships?
That they have to talk between.
Like, how do they
each
decide who
other.
pays?
I don't know. But I'm speaking for men with dicks. If you're not paying for the woman, you're a piece of shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, we're not gonna pay for your dick.
What if a male to female
Point blank period.
takes a date out with a female to male? Who pays the check?
What do you mean? What?
Like if a male to female goes on a date with a female to male, who pays the check?
The female. Who's
Female
the
to male
current
pays
female.
the check?
No, the one who's the female, who claims to be the female, is playing the part. That's the female. She's playing
Daddy
the part.
always pays. That's real life.
Daddy pays. I'm sorry. This
That's
one
real
girl
life.
was like, "Oh, are we going back into prehistoric times?" I'm like, "You could be independent all you want, but if a guy wants to show you that he wants you, you're not pulling your wallet out. Wherever you go, you're not pulling it out. And if he makes you pull out your wallet, fucking leave. Oh, that's all. Leave him out. I'm never."
I love this right now.
No, fuck that. I will
just
pay
love
if
it.
I want to. Like
I
down
don't
the
have
line.
any
Like,
advice
I
for
wanna pay.
straight females, so this makes me laugh.
Ladies, in Europe, this is frowned upon, like 110%. A woman to pull out her wallet, men will fight with each other to pay for the fucking bill. They will never let a woman pay. Never. They don't care how much the bill comes out. You can order the best of the best. They don't care. You having a good time, sweetheart? Good. Don't worry about it. Here in America, oh, you want to go 50-50? Little princess, little bitch. Pidgey mush? Get the fuck out of here. Never.
Never. You want to go coach?
No, it's not that. We're not paying for dick here. What's going on here? That's what it comes down to.
Done. I like it. The end of the show.
Yeah. Of course, I could pay for myself if I want to, but I'm not going to do it. No.
You're not
Fuck
paying.
out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Public service announcement. Women are not paying for their dinners when they go out with men. You hear it? You heard it here.
Okay. All day I've been singing, "She's my best friend. She's a real bad bitch." Oh shit. Okay. I love you guys.
I love y'all.
Does anyone, Thomas, do you have anything going on this week?
I do.
Any
I got
drops?
a huge project that big enough that we're going to start launching it soon, but me and Donut have been working on Illuminati comic. So if you go to illuminaticomic.com, that's the next big one. It's a comic book about the freaking Illuminati. Imagine that. We're
going to need a fun Paranoid American and Donut Illuminati.com song. IlluminatiComic.com.
We have one. We've even got a video that we're working on. It'll probably be done by the next episode that we do here. But the song's done. All the video clips and stuff. Just me and Donut are just editing together the final touches.
And you guys, we will be around Sunday night, and we will be around Wednesday night. So yeah. Mark your calendars.
Is Wednesday the first official meeting?
It seems like it's coming up that quick. I feel like we need a practice run that we don't talk about anything specific, because we're going to have to go over it. And we might not have all of our pieces yet. So we might have to...
It seems like a month from now for sure, but maybe sometime sooner. But yeah, it'll be a few different dry runs.
Yeah, so...
Is everyone going to be invited to the dry runs, or is this just like a behind-the-scenes thing?
I feel like they might be invited to at least the first 45 minutes, or maybe we'll all hang out for a little bit and then come and hang out with them for the last 45 minutes on YouTube. I don't know how it'll go for the first one.
I like that. We'll hang out for a little bit. Everyone's allowed. Then we go into lodge and no one else is allowed because we're the only ones. And then we come back out and it's like live again.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna do something like that at first, but it'll be Lodge 1202, and it'll be on Wednesday nights at I think 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We decided.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we love you guys, and on the way out, like, what would Cartman say to Medusa?
Shit. I'm not gonna improvisation like Gordy. Shit.
All right, XOXO.
See you guys. I'm going to bed.
Bye bye. Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing who our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cult, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing who our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cult, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.